I just wondered, I know you do a lot of cooking. I need to find that old cologne that used to smell like marijuana burning and fill up a package with it sometime and mail it. See what happens. Yeah, forgive us. It is about time. We're rolling, right? Hey. Hey. Wow. That was good. First was good. Well, fast is good. A whole lot better than being half-assed. A little butter. We got our doggies on diet. Jake's getting fat and chunky as a result of being feeding at the table. Okay, it's time. Oh. Okay, Mike's good. Okay, I'm a little late, and that's just the way things are sometimes. A few seconds here, 10 or 12, 20, whatever. Good morning, I'm Rayford Brown.
I'm Chris Marks.
I'm Lee Barris.
And it is Tuesday.
Tuesday.
I think.
One day
Yeah.
closer.
Yep, it is. Yesterday was Monday. Oh, my goodness gracious. It seemed like we were dragged into spring this year. We didn't drag ourselves. We just like it took forever. But today's the 22nd.
Yeah.
We got here a little bit later than usual. A little bit wishy-washy going into April. We had rain, we had cold, we had temperatures in the 30s in April.
Yeah.
What is that
Yeah.
about?
We're going to get
Mother
our April
Nature.
shower. I'm sorry, Lee. Go ahead.
Mother Nature, she's crazy.
We're going to get our April showers.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
finally.
need it.
I mowed yesterday just in case because it's supposed to. We may get rain for a couple days.
Well, we're going to have some
intermittently.
spotty things, potentially
Mhm.
spotty showers,
Yeah.
they say, and for the rest of the week off and on from here. Maybe not, we'll get it. You just never can
Yep.
tell. Depends on if you're in the spot, you'll get it.
That's right.
If you miss the spot, you ain't going to get it. But towards the weekend, you're going to get it.
I hope we're in the
We're all
spot.
going to get it.
Because yesterday, let me tell you, mowing the yard, it looked like dust cloud.
Yeah.
My face was black with dirt.
Oh, I hate it when it's like that.
I had so much dirt and debris in my
Mm.
hair, and it's
Well, we're here. We got spring, and it's 64
Spring
this
is spring.
morning, early 61 now down
Mhm.
and then way back in the backyard. But it's what someone had yesterday. Somebody had told me it was in the 80s.
It was nice yesterday.
yeah.
Wow.
It got up to what 83, I think,
Mhm.
yesterday,
Yeah, wow.
Chris.
I
Yeah.
picked up some more plants for the garden,
Yes, you did.
and not going to try to work as much as I have in the past. I'm not going to fill up all 11 beds with multiple plants of this and that because I mean it hurts me to invite people to go out there and just go out there when you're here or nearby, whatever. Come pick some stuff. Neighbors, come pick some stuff. I don't care. I'm not going to pick it for you.
I shortened mine by one bed, but I didn't have anywhere as near.
I'm just
As
not
many
putting
as
as
you
much
did.
stuff in.
Yeah.
Not as many varieties of tomatoes. I mean, I'm not even sure what tomatoes I ate last year. I've had this idea that I would keep a record of which ones were best, and I put the little stickers in them, but I didn't write them down when I just went in and I picked them.
Did you get any
I had so many.
egg plants?
I planted 3 eggs yesterday. And I'm waiting for either chickens or eggplants to come up. I'm not sure what's going to happen.
Yeah, egg prices are still not coming down.
I'm glad you mentioned it. So last night at a meeting that I was having, because we were talking about doing Mother's Day breakfast, we need 30 dozen eggs.
Oh,
And one of my friends that does his part about shopping, he said that he paid, or he looked at Sam's,
Mm-hmm.
$9 something for a dozen eggs.
really?
No.
Then we had one of our gentlemen stood up and said, "Eggs? You want eggs? Got all the eggs you want." Well, I have people that, and he said, "I can get you 30 dozen eggs in no time."
I was going to say, I could probably get you that at $4 a dozen.
You can. There are there's places that have it.
They're not all the same size. They come from different chickens and they don't sort them out.
Yeah.
They just put them in little
fat
cartons.
chickens and skinny
So
chickens.
did you know about cleaning
Don't clean them.
eggs?
Don't clean them, and you can just leave them on the counter.
Well, these gentlemen were talking last night about it.
Right.
Oh yeah, I got the cleaning solution to clean
What?
the egg. They clean the
No.
eggs. Don't clean them in chlorine.
No, don't clean them in anything.
They were
Until
talking
you get
about
ready to
that's the
use
first I'd heard about cleaning eggs. I mean,
You know, if you get the farm fresh eggs, you
Just-
just put them in a container, put them on your counter. You
That's
do
it.
not need to wash them,
Yeah.
clean them, or anything.
That's what I get, and hopefully
Crack
they
them
have
open and go with
as
it.
long as they haven't put them in the refrigerator, I don't clean them. I just leave them there on the counter until we're ready to eat.
When you clean them, you just wash them off,
That's it.
pat them dry.
If you want to put them in some mild soap or something, that's
I
good,
see
but
now.
generally not.
Cleaning
Just put 'em
aisle
in water.
Food Lion, there's a big container, a cleaner for $8.99.
is it really?
No,
Oh, okay.
see, it'll be next, right next to the eggs.
These
Or either that, or we'll clean your eggs here. You buy them for $12 a dozen, and we'll clean them for another $2
Yeah, we're
a
just gonna
dozen.
put them on the oyster table and spray them down with a water hose.
There you go. It's gonna be nice once the stuff starts coming in. You know, peppers and
It's always fun.
cucumbers and squash and zucchini, especially squash and zucchini and the peppers. Because
It's
I've
always-
got that new little Blackstone
Yeah.
thing out there, and I am going to give it a whirl. I've
You
never
need a hibachi one night.
been successful
Mhm.
with the traditional frying pans and stuff like that. I'm gonna try to do what they do at the fair.
Oh,
oh
the peppers and
Yeah.
the
Peppers,
onions.
onions, and kielbasa,
I'm in.
whatever sausage. I want to get that a whirl. That's going to be done probably by the weekend, just for giggles. And if
Oh,
it works,
please, yeah.
then I got something else. Once my maters start coming in, once my crop starts coming in.
Get it done right now so we'll have a night show and you can cook.
I was getting ready to say, so you want Rayford to be there with the
Yeah.
oh, what just okay.
No, I stuff it in up on the ceiling or in the garage door or on the floor, whatever.
We're gonna get him one of those 6 foot tall hats. To,
Yeah.
you know, you can just throw the egg up in there and catch it in his hat.
Yeah.
You know, that would be mighty good. Be a good thing for the
You need to
There we go.
practice.
for that cooking thing.
You
There you
need
go.
to.
For the men who cook.
I'm gonna
We
tell
can
you
try
what.
that. Y'all, that's coming up too, 8th of May. That's the second Saturday. That's only a couple of weeks away.
Not
So
far.
I got to go ahead and I got part of the stuff. I got to go get the rest of my
Right.
goods.
Right now, there's some things that
We
we've
take
got
out
to
a loan
up,
to go get it.
we have to up our game from
Yeah,
what
you
we did
saying
last year. Yeah.
You said that last
You know
yeah.
You know that pot of stuff that I fixed last year and the year before
Yes.
with all the stuff in it?
Yes.
It was kicking on $100 worth of ingredients
Oh,
there.
well, it was sure good.
Uh-huh. It's a 16-quart
It
pot,
was well
4
liked.
gallons.
It was
of
very,
stuff.
very good.
But it was worth it. It was fun.
Had
Yes,
none
it
left.
was.
No.
Right.
You see the judges this year. They've got actual judges coming in now.
Really?
Lorette Legon from the Chamber of Commerce is
Oh,
one of
is
the
she now?
judges.
Mhm.
Yeah, I wonder if she needs her yard cut.
I'm thinking, well,
Stop that.
okay, let's, I'll do the background on her and just in case we need to.
Yeah, find out
Mention
where
that
she
to
lives. I'll take her some flowers.
But I'm, I also planted something I haven't planted. My dad had planted it. My granddaddy used to plant it, of course. Cantaloupe.
I love cantaloupe.
I do too, but I've never planted any. So I've got 4 hills of cantaloupe. And if they, you know what I do with cantaloupe?
Give
Fresh
it to your
cantaloupe.
friends.
No, I could if it works. I cut them in half.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Don't peel them. Don't cut. I just cut them in
Don't
half.
ever peel them.
And then I scoop out all the seeds and stuff
Right.
like that. And then I take French vanilla ice cream
Mm-hmm.
and put in there hard frozen. You can't do the soft. You got to make sure you put it in one of the freezers. It freezes really hard. Put it in there, and it as it's melting, and it begins to melt, and it permeates. Oh, you cut it with a spoon. You cut a little bite of ice cream was mixed with a chunk of cantaloupe.
There is
Don't
nothing
get in the
better
way.
than a bogue sound.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Is this the sandy soil? What? But
Well, we'll check and see how the Marion Place cantaloupes do this year.
well, let's
And if it don't work, I'll go to Bogue Sound. and buy
let's
some
get it
cantaloupes.
done.
If all else fails, there is something out there for me.
Yes,
Anyway, you guys, everything good with you in your worlds?
everything's great in mine.
Everything's great in
My
mine.
yard's clean.
There
My
you go.
yard looks good.
We're good. Got a little hot yesterday in Jacksonville. Not the weather, but
Yes,
there
I
on
was
Marine
expecting
Boulevard.
you to send
Yeah.
pictures.
well, I got them. But the fire was out when I got there, so
Oh.
I've got a bunch of pictures of the crews and mopping up and doing everything. But at Sam's Fresh
Seafood.
Seafood place, it's a restaurant. Used to be Captain D's,
Right.
and it got the fire call yesterday. It was on fire, and
Mm-hmm.
fire department had a run for its money there for a bit. Fire was I'm assuming fire was either coming through the roof or whatever because they had ladders up
Right.
to get up there. I don't know, they may have done that just for make sure inspections and stuff. But anyway, they had several ladders up, and I don't know how many units they had there, but US 17 was blocked, all the southbound lanes, and all but one northbound lane was blocked there for a bit. So, because they had lots of hoses, lots of
Yes.
firefighters,
Yeah.
lots of the police.
Why is it always a seafood place? What, a couple years ago, we had the one at Belfork and Hargett Street that got damaged by the storm and it was closed down for a while.
Oh,
Now we had this one catch fire. Somebody's playing with us.
It's the chicken companies and the pork producers. They want you to eat,
Eat more chicken.
Yeah. No one got hurt. That's the good thing. And,
Yes.
you can,
blessed.
then in any place that serves fried food, and obviously the seafood place serves lots of fried food.
Mhm.
They got a lot of grease in the area.
Yeah.
And it's virtually impossible if you have a fire from it not becoming a flashpoint.
Right, right.
So whatever
I
happened, it
saw
happened.
earlier pictures or a lot of black smoke coming out the roof. So
Uh-huh.
and it looked like it appeared to be in the back and the
It was
cooking
in the back
So,
area.
yeah, wow. Tom just said he's got a message for you. He said he's got freeze-dried cantaloupe for snacks. Just sip some water while eating it. I know he does a lot of freeze-dried. He's got freeze-dried ice cream. How do you freeze-dry ice cream?
I don't know.
I've
freeze.
tasted some of his freeze-dried stuff, and it's really good. But freeze-dried
Don't know.
cantaloupe.
I had deep fried key lime pie one time when I was down in Marathon. Robbie and I were there and had our nephew with us. Picked him up down southern part of Florida where he was living. And went to Marathon, did some diving. Went to a restaurant, nice restaurant the night before we left. Pigged out, great seafood. And the guy comes around, and I don't do desserts in restaurants. I fill up on real food.
Hmm.
And they came around with this. I got some desserts here. No, I'm good. We got this and this. We got some fried key lime pie. And you got some what? Well, number one, I like key lime pie.
Mm-hmm.
So Keys are famous for key lime pie. I said, I'll take one of those. So I did. I ate it. I was already stuffed. I said, you got any more of those? So I had another one. On top of all the food that I ate, I had 3 desserts. Key lime,
I just want to
fried key lime pie. How do you fry key lime pie?
How do you fry ice cream, Chris? How do you deep
I
fry
have
ice cream?
yet to figure that out. I mean, they
Comes out milk, doesn't it?
They coat
No,
it with
it's
some kind of
something.
coating and throw it in the deep fryer. It is fried
yes.
ice cream.
Well, they got fried Snickers bars.
No,
I still don't. This chocolate
my friend,
chocolate melts very quickly.
Barbara would do that out there at the farm, and
Yeah.
and you know, and she's frying every. I'm like, how do you do that?
I don't.
Oh, here might be a good thing to try. M&Ms, they melt in your mouth, not in your hand. So why not just put those in some dough? Or I wonder if you could deep fry those.
Yeah,
Whatever.
Tom, no, I did not get any of the freeze dried shrimp. Tom, you need to come see us one morning
Yeah.
and bring us samples.
Oh yeah, we got to have the proof is in the
You
tasting.
come sit with us and bring us some samples. He also does bees. He's got beehives.
Does bees, fries bees?
Now, I don't think he doesn't deep fry those or doesn't freeze
Freeze
those,
those.
but he's got beehives,
Oh, good.
you
I
know,
don't
so
want
we
any
know where to
bees.
get honey now.
Okay, you can do that, but I'm not going to get it.
I had a bunch of wasps making nests in my garage. I got rid of them yesterday.
You got some mace?
I wasn't going to use mace because I would end up wearing it.
Yeah, I know.
But I did have some spray.
works.
Yeah, I know.
If you got a big
Mace will
nest,
take anything down.
do not take this and do it. This is a warning. But if you've got a big nest, like those things can get from time to time,
yeah.
and you go out there and you spray it with a commercial sprayer, 32% of them will fly away and come looking for you.
That's right. Have you ever been chased by them?
Yeah.
Yes.
But if you take
Yeah.
mace and you hit it, they all die and hit the deck.
Well, I had a spray that had about a 20-foot.
So-
you could stand back that
Yeah.
far with it, and I was like, pss, 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 then in the door. And
Now,
then,
those of us who, from the good old days, we would wrap a piece of cloth
set it on fire.
and wrap it around a broomstick handle,
Right.
an old handle,
Yeah.
and wire it with a coat hanger wire, and then dip it in kerosene, light that
I would
sucker, and
set
hold
my
it up
house
there.
on fire.
You never did that?
I would set
No.
the house on. These are inside the garage.
Well, I wouldn't do it
on the
inside the garage.
ceiling.
No. First of all, you should have closed your door. They wouldn't have gotten in.
I leave. No, I can't say.
Tragic news
Good
up in the mountains, and we hear about this periodically. I did a little research last night too. A Plymouth, North Carolina man fell to his death last Friday hiking in the mountains. 40-year-old Ji Wang slipped while walking along the Boone Fork Trail near Blowing Rock. It's part of the Blue Ridge Parkway. When he slipped, he went down the hill, bouncing apparently, ending up in a stream. Rescuers performed CPR, but they were unable to revive him. The National Park Service said the man died from injuries sustained in the fall. He did not drown. But a lot of people die in our national parks, including North Carolina's national park, that Blue Ridge Parkway area. It's number 4 in the nation. The most prevalent death is from cars, wrecks.
Mhm.
Okay, up there, you do round and round and round, and you try to straighten out those curves, you can't do it. And so there's a lot of that. But number 2 is suicides.
People jumping off.
People jumping
Yeah.
off. A lot of them go down as being slipping, sliding, but no, they apparently they do it intentionally. Then you'll find those that 1 or 2 from time to time will be a homicide, a murder.
Mm.
Honey, back up just a little bit more, back a little bit. Oh my goodness gracious!
Yeah.
If I can get your picture. No,
Stand
some of
on
them
one
actually get
foot.
pushed off the mountain.
Right.
I'm not going up there and standing on the edge.
No.
First of all, that I may have been the very next person to stand up there as that crack had been forming for all of these hundreds of years, and my little extra weight was just enough to make it. Nope, not going to do it.
I wouldn't even lean on the rails at Niagara Falls. No, mm-mm.
I don't usually go to Niagara Falls.
Those,
but anyway,
those rails be loose.
understand.
And,
You understand?
I'm going to try Niagara Falls this year. I've never been.
You'll
it's
take
been,
your own barrel, or you're going to rent one?
it's been many years for me.
No, but,
Take a raincoat.
well, and I was told.
Stephanie, Do not get in the barrel. It's a scam.
Don't get close to the rails.
But we were going to go last year, and she said, "I don't want to get wet." And I said, "You're going to get wet if you go.
Yeah.
If you go under there, you're going to get wet."
Yeah.
But then the debate was, which side is it to look better from, the American side or the Canadian side?
Go to both. And
I went to the
give us a
American
call.
side, of course, but yeah, just get one of those $1
Ponchos. Yeah,
in the gift shop because you get sprayed.
Yeah.
All the spray coming off the water. I remember that. It was beautiful though, but
yeah.
no, I wasn't getting close to the railing just in case it was a bad railing.
Mhm.
Well, we met some people from Canada, and they were telling us some interesting stories about there's barges. There's a barge that is in the waterfalls, and they're getting ready to try to get rid of it because it's causing some issues.
Well, good. Maybe they'll bring it here.
A barge.
A barge is
Why
from
is it in the
it's-
waterfall?
it's some kind of history of the where the water lands. The river, is it a river?
Yeah.
Anyway, so sometime back during the 1800s, a barge had been trying to go through, and it got stuck. And so the
Right.
men that were on it, I don't know. I got to talk to them again.
They got
But
wet.
they climbed out because the barge was going to sink, and it sank enough so that's just sitting there, and now it's starting to disintegrate.
I don't
or
think
they-
I'd want to take a ride through there.
They're trying to get
Did you ever see the
rid of it.
Three Stooges episode about he heard that he was hypnotized? I think it was Curly was hypnotized. No,
Chris
It would have to be curly.
one of them was hypnotized, and if he was a boxer going to be fighting in a ring, so they put him under hypnosis. Come on, guys, I know you've seen this. They put him
No.
under. They hypnotized him and said, "You become very aggressive, very assertive, very you're a heck of a fighter when you hear the words Niagara Falls."
Oh yes, I do
Do you
remember.
remember that?
Yeah,
And then every time somebody would, for whatever reason, they did it in the ring, and of course he whipped up the guy pretty bad. But out of the ring, they forgot to dehypnotize him. And every time, for whatever, how many times do you ever hear the words Niagara Falls on a daily
Not
basis?
till this
He heard it
morning,
all day
every
long,
time,
and of course he
right.
would go woo, 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 and go crazy and start whipping up.
The other-
The one episode I remember the most is when they put butter in their hair. And my brother and I did that. We thought, well, we're going to try it. So we used a tub of butter and greased our hair down. It took weeks to wash it out.
there was
Weeks for the marks on our backsides to wear off.
Bet you waste of good butter.
another episode of that one where the Niagara Falls. Slowly I turn, step by step.
Yep.
Inch by
I
inch.
remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that saying, but slowly I turn. Inch by inch.
Hey, it's time to go fishing, y'all. Offshore
Let's go
today, out to
fishing.
20 nautical miles. Wind's going to be out of the southwest, 10 to 15 knots. Seas 2 to 3 feet. They're only 4 seconds apart. A little choppy, but not real big waves, so you should be okay. Sounds and rivers a moderate chop tomorrow. Southwesterly winds 5 to 10 knots, becoming southerly in the afternoon. 2 to 3 foot seas. Sounds and rivers a light chop, diminishing to twiggy flat in the afternoon. Thursday, northeasterly winds 5 to 10, seas 2 to 3. Sounds and rivers a light chop.
Today, mostly sunny with a high near 85. Light south wind increasing 5 to 9 miles per hour this morning. Winds could gust as high as 15. Tonight, a chance of showers and thunderstorms, mostly cloudy with a low around 64. Wednesday, a 60% chance of showers and thunderstorms, mostly cloudy with a high near 81.
Yuck.
Well,
So there you
As
go.
we know-
Please ring, please ring, please ring.
as we know, now we know, Kilmar, Abrigo, or whatever his name is, Garcia, the illegal alien with ties to MS-13, that's the violent U.S. gang that's been designated as a terrorist organization. The man who was deported to El Salvador back in March with a host of other illegals had been transferred from the country's notorious mega prison before Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen showed up in the country last week. Van Hollen's mission was to get Garcia, who had been living in Maryland before he was taken into custody and deported, released from the terrorist prison because he was inadvertently sent there at the wrong time. He was not scheduled for deportation until later this year. Not a lot of behind the scenes information has come from El Salvador about this mess, but it was obvious the leadership knew of the mistake and moved him to another location. Nevertheless, who came up with that word? Nevertheless, the senator was given a chance to talk with Garcia before returning to the United States. According to released statements from the senator's office, Garcia said he was transferred out of the infamous prison 8 days or more before Van Hollen even arrived in the country. Garcia is being held in a room with a bed and furniture and is not confined to a cell at this time, we think. In a social media post, the senator blasted Trump for denying Garcia his constitutional rights. Y'all, help me out here. If he was found to be in the United States illegally, if he was found to be in the United States illegally, that's one thing. But if he was a member of a terrorist gang, of which he is, my question, does he have the same rights that U.S. citizens are provided, the constitutional rights? Y'all can comment on it. No arguments, please. You're not going to change my mind. I know what I think. I just want to know what you think and why you think that way. I'm not going to challenge you. Just don't challenge me. But it does. Yeah, he has a right to be alive, but that's human rights. But does he have the constitutional rights to be able to stay in this country, be provided a lawyer, be taken to a court before a group of his peers to be judged whether he's guilty or not of a crime against the United States or against any state? Well, he has not been accused of violating any of those laws, except being here illegally and being a member of a terrorist organization.
I thought he had some previous charges.
He's had those, but I'm talking about something that they would try him for.
Oh,
They're
okay.
not. Why are they going to waste time trying him?
No, yeah.
If he's here illegally, then you're subject to be deported. You should be deported. Why would we want you to stay here?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a member of a gang, it's not like it's the member of even the Crips are kind of like just a bunch of old fogies these days, right? They don't do much. Hell's Angels, nah. What do they do? Ride up and down on their aging bicycles, motorcycles. It's not the same. The gangs that were with us in the past that went out and they rumbled.
Yeah.
They didn't go out and do drive-by shootings. The gangs of the past, they kept it amongst themselves. Inter-gang rivalry for the most part. MS-13, they're just vicious. The members are vicious, and so vicious that they have been deemed by our government as a terrorist organization.
But the DOJ is the one that's they've done the labeling. They're a government.
Right.
If he's here illegally, which I guess he's debating that he's not here illegally, right?
Yep.
He's saying his wife's here, so he's entitled to be here.
Yes.
If you sneak across the border and then you go hook up and get married to someone who is here legally, are you here legally at that point in time? Let me just put it to you this way. I know because I went through this with a friend, a co-worker. He's an American citizen. He spent some time in Japan, met a woman. They decided they were going to get married. She came here on a visa. with all the plans in the world to get married. Do you know what they had to jump through for her to be able to stay here beyond the expiration? That they had to go into immigration to be interviewed separately. All sorts of questions were asked. They were interrogated. They were not interviewed. They were interrogated. Is this a scam? Are you here? Did you come over here just to marry this man just so you can get into the United States? That's the process they go through. Are you here illegally and you're going to marry him so you can stay here? No, you won't be able to stay here. You're out. If you do it the way you're supposed to do it, and they cannot show that you cannot prove to them that you are here for the legitimate purpose of being married to this other person, a U.S. citizen, they're not going to let you stay here. Even if you come into this country legally, they went through that in Vietnam. A ton in Vietnam. You got it?
Whoa.
And they should have.
So I'm just going to ask a question.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it this one person?
Why is he so important?
This one person from Maryland getting all the attention? And the answer is
politics.
There you go. Politics.
Because they found one chink, what they call like that, not that kind. They found one chink in the armor of this presidency with this one person. Of all of those that have been deported, they all were deported and went out on the time that they were supposed to go out. This guy, something happened. A mistake was made, but the mistake was only in the scheduling of his departure, not whether he should go or not, just in the scheduling of his departure.
Well,
so big deal. Okay, we'll put him on hold for a few days, and you're still going back.
I know how you love to ask questions and because this program is about opinions and just call in and talk about things. So here's the question. Are you interested? Is anybody interested in this guy coming back to the United States?
Yeah, you want to put him up? Hey, members of the Rotary Club, you folks in the Kiwanis Club.
Don't be blaming specific clubs.
Yeah, are y'all willing to bring him in here? Would you like the Chamber of Commerce? Would you like to have him come and speak before your organization at the annual meetings? Any of you want to do that?
I would just like to know.
Would you put him up?
Does anybody think he needs to come back? For what?
I'm sure his wife is sweating it because he was very abusive. Allegedly, he was very abusive to her.
She didn't follow through with it, but that's not that uncommon.
She's scared of him, yeah.
Well, he's an MS-13 terrorist, yes.
She's a battered woman, and yeah.
What about all of the other gangbangers that he's associated with?
That's right, yeah. Go take care of my wife.
Well, what if she does come out and just start blasting him? They got witness protection for her and the kids?
No.
No, not at all.
No.
Not at all. I mean, she's staying very quiet right now, and I can understand why.
Mm-hmm.
She's been battered and abused, and MS-13, yeah, I'd keep my mouth quiet too. What choice do you have?
910-333-0139. Got an opinion? 910-333-0139.
Well, an update on the Pope. His funeral will be Saturday. And of course, many dignitaries from all the countries.
Trump's going.
Will be there, yeah. And Melania will be there. Mm-hmm. But they've already started the odds. I find this strange, but odds on who is going to be the next Pope.
Are we doing Vegas odds?
Well, they've already done that. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And so there's
who's leading?
3-1 a cardinal from the Philippines will be the next Pope. You don't know because all the cardinals from around the world are going to gather in the conclave, and they're going to go in there, and
this guy from the Philippines, has he done something remarkable?
He has the same philosophy and makeup of the late Pope.
So the other
Francis.
cardinals, you're presuming they're the folks, the odds makers are presuming that they like this other pope,
Right. Well, it's
Francis.
cardinal. Yeah.
that they liked Francis,
Mhm.
so that they will probably want to find somebody like Pope
Yes.
Francis.
Yes.
It's Charlie.
It was quite. The Pope was very. This Pope was very unique in that he was very humble. We all know that.
Yes.
And I remember a little child coming up, and they eventually the Pope kept saying, "Come, come, 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 and talk to me," because his father was an atheist, and he asked the Pope, "Well, is my father going to be in heaven with God?" And the Pope replied to him, comforting him, and said, "God loves all fathers, and He is the Father of all fathers."
Yeah. Okay.
Lot
That's
of
a great
passion.
response. I mean, I would have answered that one.
Oh, we've got Charlie on the line.
Charlie, how you doing, sir?
Morning, Charlie.
You know what, Bob? You know what really bothers me about every time I call into your program?
What's that?
We know who you are.
Me?
Yeah, you guys know who I am. I mean, you got to get other callers.
You
gotta
can't get by
You
us.
got to get. What is it?
We know other callers. We call them by name before they even speak. We know who they are.
No, I really like you guys.
Well, good. We like you too,
Thank you, Charlie.
I really like you guys.
Thank you.
But I think you got to get more callers. You guys have one of the best shows. Listen, I called into a couple shows the other day, last night. They have hundreds of viewers and listeners.
Mhm.
All of them hate me, and I like that they hate me. I really like you guys, and I just don't get why you guys don't have more, viewers. You guys are smart.
Okay.
You're unique.
Here we go, Charlie. Here's the reason. Can I explain it to you? You mind? Our listeners, the folks out here that pay attention to us, they like this show. They don't have anything to gripe about. They really don't. We live in a great area here, so they don't
We
complain
do.
too much about the weather. They don't complain about their neighbors. They don't complain about other callers because we are a forgiving folks around here. Quit laughing, Chris.
I'm sorry.
We have, but our listeners, they don't want to belittle folks. They're good Southern folks. They don't like to put people down. Okay, well, we'll do this. All you folks that don't like Charlie, you can call us as soon as Charlie hangs up. And then we're not going to get any calls, Charlie.
There's something. All the different shows that I call into, and by the way, everybody hates me, and I like that. I just don't want you guys to hate me. There's a certain thing called the
We don't
like
hate
button.
you.
They want you to like you. I think when there's something right now where you guys are podcasting, there's a like button. You need for them to like that button. And when they like that button, it increases your algorithm and it increases your viewership.
Oh.
So when somebody goes to YouTube and they type in live shows,
Mm-hmm.
if people have previously, clicked the like button, you actually get many more viewers.
Charlie, you've got a point there. I can tell you that I post from time to time commentaries that are right commentaries, and they're generally not really nice commentaries because I usually go in and I do my thing and I take people down. Organizations, generally not too many individuals, but I will go after a government organization. I will go after sometimes a political group. It doesn't matter which one. I go after everybody. I don't play favorites. I go after everybody when I see that they're doing something that I disagree with. I have an opinion, just like Charlie has an opinion, and I get to post it. And I get more hits.
Mm-hmm.
I got, 74,000 hits on one post that I did a few months ago. 74,000 overnight. I'm like, really? That many people agreed with me? That's scary. Absolutely scary. Came from all over the world, in fact.
Yep.
But that's not the way we generally work our show. We could get out there. We could be screaming memes or whatever and up and down and blast everybody. I do enough of it, but it's not vicious. It's just factual.
But let me ask you this. I've called in your show for the last, 6 or 8 months. I call in sometimes I'm sober, sometimes I'm not sober. There's a host on your show. She's been very nice to me. I need to talk to her again because I'm slowly sinking. But I'm just, But don't you guys want to be popular? Do you want to be famous? Or you just like, you know what?
No.
We just wake up every morning. We're going to do this show. I mean,
we enjoy
why do you
it.
guys do this?
We
Why do you
enjoy
guys do that?
we enjoy it. I enjoy it. I've lived a varied life, and I just like to get in here on here, and I do like reading the comments of some of the folks' posts. I like getting some of the private messages that they send us, and then when I'm out and about and I'm in the public's eye, so to speak, people who know me. There are not that many who know me they recognize me. More recognize me from my voice than recognize me by sight. I will give you that. But I like them to come up and talk. They want to talk. I said, why don't you call the show? You've got something to say. They don't do it. They just would rather be anonymous.
Yeah, when you mentioned that, so I'll go to church again this weekend, and I'll have parishioners going, heard you on the show.
Yeah.
Yep. Robert Onesius, he listens.
Yep.
He posts every day. Sometimes Robert will call.
And his family does too.
His family does. And Kathy, Plain, his daughter.
Yep.
Some people, Charlie, just don't like to be heard, but they'll still send. Lee gets lots of messages.
Yeah.
Lee's email and text messages light up all during the entire show. That's why
we just had a message
see her
this
there
morning.
and see her responding with her
That's
fingers.
why I'm on the computer all the time. Yes.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, Tom.
Tom Alston.
He sent messages that mean that we're going to have the church is going to stay progressive. So he's got a question. He didn't want to call in. He just he has a question. So I'm not sure.
We are a community radio show.
Yeah, it's a little bit different.
We're based in the community. We do what we do for the community.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have a lot of community guests on our show, like tomorrow
Now,
from the health department.
Later
Thursday.
this year, this year? Yeah, well, there's council races this year.
Yes.
And we got coming up a council
a lot of local
candidate here
politics.
that's going to Galveston shortly. She's going to announce her candidacy for one of the local municipalities, but she's going to call in this morning. But during a political year, especially when there's something like a sheriff's race that's contested, or a school board race, or county commission race that's really got some fighting going on. Some people don't like each other or
We
whatever.
love to get in that.
And then they call in, and we, sometimes we can spend the entire show 2 hours, one phone call after another, and they all come on here to express their opinion. Politics brings out the best and the worst in people. Have you noticed that, Charlie?
Well, can I ask you guys a question?
Yes.
And
Sure.
I'm not trying to be. What's that thing called when you ask somebody about their opinion of you? When they're looking for a self-valid, they want you to validate them.
Yeah,
I'm just
right.
curious.
Hey,
Of all three of you guys.
does this dress make my butt look fat? No, don't ever
Why
answer
does it
that
have
one.
to be
Charlie.
a woman thing?
Well,
Okay, of all three of you, if you guys had to describe Charlie's phone calls into your program, if you had to decipher, listen, I have no clue who this Charlie guy is. But if somebody says, listen, how would you describe me?
Entertaining.
Each of you. What is that?
Entertaining.
for our audience, you're very entertaining.
And
Now,
one of our
Go
listeners
ahead.
just said,
Then I'm going to tell you what.
but let me-
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me explain that to Charlie. When I say that, I mean that as a compliment. It is not an insult. I think that the things that you say are very insightful. You give us information from the left coast, West Coast, meaning
say west, not left.
West.
He's
West.
not left.
No. But from the West Coast side. So you explain to things that you're actually seeing because you live out west. We live out on the East Coast, and it's a whole different atmosphere. But I think the things that you bring to the show are interesting.
You know what? We're
And-
bookends. We're bookends with
Yeah.
Charlie.
I enjoy hearing from you, Charlie, personally.
I do too.
I think you're very intelligent. I think you bring up a lot of good points. You've always been respectful to us. You've never said anything ugly. And we enjoy you calling in. And somebody just posted on one of our comments, nobody hates Charlie. They just disagree with him sometimes. So, which is fine. They disagree with us.
That's an interesting assessment. But
Yeah.
And for me, I like some of the points you bring out because you speak from a different perspective.
Yeah.
You tell us, you come in here and you tell us, I don't know how true this is that you're an alcoholic, that you are a drunk, that you.
Oh, no. I have serious drinking problems.
Okay,
right now.
Okay, that's
I'm
fine.
completely out of my mind. No.
No, you can't be completely out of your mind. You're calling us and you're able to dial the number. You're not out of your mind.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I was sober for the last 2 weeks. Hey, you remember that story that I told you about Circus
Yes.
when I was attacked?
Yes.
So I had an attorney. How do I wrap this up really quick? Okay. So my attorney, I told my attorney that I have an alcohol problem. I spoke to them and they said, listen, Charlie, we don't want to talk to you when you're not sober. You've got lots of problems. And I wrote to them, I'm like, I shared that with you. I opened up with you. I told you I have an addiction problem. And they wrote back and they said, listen, we don't want to talk to you when you're drunk. I'm like, hold on. If I was paying you $300 an hour on a retainer, you would not say that to me. But since we're on a contingency basis, you're basically being rude to me. And now they've said, listen, we're going to report you. They said basically, we're going to report you to the Nevada State Bar because of your obnoxious behavior. I have no clue if I'm making sense right now. Charlie can be sober.
Wait.
I was sober for the last 3 weeks. I'm completely not sober right now. Go ahead.
Your attorneys said they're going to report you to the bar.
Yeah, no. So I put in writing to my attorney. I said, listen, when I was attacked at that hotel in Circus, it caused me a lot of problems. Listen, I started drinking, I've isolated myself. I was knocked out. I've got problems. And then I wrote them a letter and said, listen, you guys told me you viewed the evidence from Circus. You said that I was knocked out, I was attacked. But when you told me all the information, I was kind of drunk when we spoke. I've got psychological problems. You would think an attorney would say, dear Charlie, thank you very much for putting in writing that you have problems. We want to work with you. They basically said, listen, you alcoholic idiot, sober up and then talk to us.
You got some high-class attorneys there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I said with disdain.
I like your show very much. There's a very nice lady on your show.
I got two of them.
A couple conversations with her. Mm-hmm. She's been very nice to me. I think I need to reach out to her again. It is what it is. But I really love your show. You guys have one of the best shows online. Hopefully you guys are recognized for this. No. I'm not sure if that's going to happen. You guys are very smart. You're simple. You're nice. It is what it is.
Well, we're working on becoming a little bit more broadcast friendly shortly. Hopefully, we got a couple of deals that we're working on. I'm working on now. Hopefully, I'll be having one of those meetings today.
You mentioned these deals that you're working on. Can you expand on that?
No,
what are you working on?
I cannot.
We're not giving away any secrets.
I can't do that because we've got some folks around here that
going to be surprised
that kicked us in the backside, and we don't want them to have any information that I've got. Okay, you know how it is. I am not the defense director.
You're not a Pete.
I'm not the Secretary of Defense. Loose lips sink ships.
You know what would be really bizarre?
What's that?
6 months from now, I have a small part in your program, and you guys are super successful. And let's go to the Charlie minute, and I give you a Charlie minute.
I like that.
First of all, Charlie can't keep it to a minute. You know that. I don't want you to. Let's be real.
I got to go, guys. Listen, at least I'm being honest with you. I'm currently slightly intoxicated. There's a host on your show that's been helping me. I probably need to reach out to her. You guys have the best show online.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Charlie.
I call into so many shows.
Take care.
I call into so many shows with thousands of listeners. You guys only have a few listeners. Your show matters. I love your show. I'll leave it at that.
Charlie.
Thank you,
Thank
Charlie.
you, Charlie.
We appreciate the endorsement.
Have a great day, my friend.
Check with Kelly later on if you're still listening.
Yeah.
She's out this week. She's out there having to work and learn stuff.
Yeah,
or
she's
teach. She's
one
probably
of her
teaching.
classes that she's going to. It's a big seminar, is what it is. You know, they have different speakers, and
And they earn a
Pam
nice.
Bondi
And
is
apparently
speaking today.
Oh, is she?
Yes, Kelly said she
Give
was
her our
so
number.
excited about it.
Get her cell number. We'll call her.
Yeah, Kelly's her listening. Get her number.
Just one thing I want to go back to the late Pope Francis.
Yes.
The politics came into it because of Marjorie Green.
Yep.
Wow, Marjorie.
This special lady.
She said she made a comment that with the passing of the Pope, evil has been defeated.
What?
She
What?
she did say that.
I'm gonna X her. I'm gonna X her.
X her.
X her.
My laptop's gone dead, but yeah. And it was picked up by everybody that she
Well,
was
I'm
referring
glad
to.
I did not hear it, because that, I don't respect her. I don't like her. I think she's just a blowhard with absolutely no substance, and she is just trying to get attention.
I don't know if that. No, I need one like Rayford has here, maybe. I don't know.
There's
tried
several. I got a
Kelly's,
bunch of
didn't
them around
work.
here.
Yeah. But yeah, she had made some
All right,
comments, and I
let's
saw that
see.
they popped up that something about the evil has been defeated.
Yeah, well, no, it hasn't. She's still in office.
Yep.
That's what I would tell her in a heartbeat.
She may be an attention seeker too.
What? You
Well,
kidding?
yeah.
Good
Never mind.
gracious.
Yeah.
Yeah, well. Justice Samuel Alito, he got unhappy and expressed his unhappiness with his fellow justices. He wrote what they call a fiery dissent against the Supreme Court move to halt Donald Trump's deportations of Venezuelan criminals under the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. That decision, which was issued early Saturday morning in the middle of the night, to be exact, effectively blocks the deportations of Venezuelan migrants, aliens, under the 18th century law, in a decision that was also signed off on by conservatives Justices Brett Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett. The court advised the White House not to remove Venezuelans held in Texas Bluebonnet Detention Center, quote, until further order of this court. Alito disapproved of the timing of the decision, which he described as being literally in the middle of the night, of which it was. First of all, it's virtually impossible to get something before the Supreme Court without going through a lower court. Okay. Why this deserved that kind of attention, I don't know. He wrote, the court issued unprecedented and legally questionable relief without giving the lower courts a chance to rule, without hearing from the opposing party, within 8 hours of receiving the application from the ACLU, with dubious factual support for its order, and without providing any explanation for its order. Pretty harsh words from one justice to the rest of them. That's wow. He and Justice Clarence Thomas agreed with the majority of the people who were saying, no, this should not be done. Later Saturday, counsel representing the Trump administration filed an opposition to that order. The lawyers said that the federal government gave advance notice to detainees before their deportations. They knew they were going. Their lawyers, if they had any, knew they were going. The ACLU knew they were going, but nobody went to a lower court, to a federal district court. Nobody approached that. Nobody tried that. They said, well, let's go to the Supreme Court. Now, if a lower court had agreed with the ACLU and said, we're going to issue a stop order, then obviously the Supreme Court would have been the next step, because you can rest assured the administration would have said, we disagree with that, we want another ruling, and it has to move up the ladder. Therefore, then it could have gone to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court would have been in a better standing to say, okay, this lower court, we can see nothing wrong with what they did, and Therefore, it would be easier to swallow. But just to have the ACLU to have the only voice that the Supreme Court heard is wrong. Wrong, wrong. Theo speaks of due process. There was not due process here. Due process would have been doing it the right way. The government, these guys had plenty of time. These folks who were going to be deported, they had plenty of time. Enough time to file what is called a habeas claim. The government earlier agreed not to remove, pursuant to the Alien Enemies Act, the AEA, those detainees who do file habeas claims. They didn't file them. Those claims would have been argued in lower courts. They weren't. Before any action from the Supreme Court would have been required. Looks like the ACLU sneaked one around right by everybody else. And that's what I don't like. That's not the way it's supposed to be done. Due process means actually everybody gets a chance.
Who pays the ACLU?
Gullible
Is it-
individuals.
I believe they're a nonprofit, aren't they? Hey, let me.
Probably.
Yeah, they raise their own funds.
Oh, like PBS.
Yeah, right. PBS raises their funds. Yeah.
No, a lot of this big
Congressman,
word.
we need some more money here, and
Yeah.
we're going to have to shut down.
It's an organization. Yeah.
With their telethons, and they run those for 2 days, and then they get on there and say, "Oh, we're going to be shut down if the government's going to shut us down because they're not going to give us any money. Y'all need to open your hearts." And we got Tammy Faye Baker over here; she's going to help us get some funds.
The only reason I brought that up, yesterday I was doing my 5K and I was listening to the radio, which I do, and it was a commercial from PBS.
Oh, goody!
Thanking all the citizens. We are capable because you make us capable.
Mhm.
Okay, you were listening to PBS.
No. It was a commercial. It was a commercial
for PBS.
Yes.
Who paid for that commercial?
Uh,
Did some broadcast station give them a free plug? Give them free commercials?
you know,
I want some of that same rates.
you remember back in the old days, the radio station,
Yeah.
television station, you were required to run public service announcements.
Yeah, that's not a public
Okay.
service announcement.
Here you are,
No.
Chris. The ACLU is a nonpartisan and nonprofit organization. We do not receive any government funding. Okay. Our work is supported by member dues as well as contributions and grants from private foundations and individuals. And you can make a gift or a donation if you would like to by
I'd like to
going
know
onto
how
their
much the Clinton
website.
Foundation gives them.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. I was like, that's why I had to laugh. Government funding, because there is a way around it.
Of course there
Okay.
is.
That's right. There's a lot of politics involved in this. It's just like the NPR is now under fire
Oh.
because they put out a story that Pete Hegseth
Oh,
is on his way out and that he's being Trump's already looking for somebody else, which
Not
I
according to
gave
Trump.
Pete 6 months, so it's still early. But so now, once again, Marjorie Taylor Greene was raising Cain. It says, no, none of it's true. None of it's true.
Okay, let me.
Of course, that's Marjorie, but several other news organizations saying that was fake
Let me
news.
have my
So-
personal commentary type stuff. Let me do one.
Are you going to talk about Pete?
Yep.
Go ahead.
Let's talk defense in general. The
Yeah.
World War II military slogan, it could have been World War I, but I thought it was World War II, went something like loose lips sink ships. Everybody understood what that meant, right? It's easy to
Of course.
understand. No one inside this government, not the media, not the corner motor mouths, should be running off at the mouth because they don't really know who is listening and what kind of people they are. That's the way it was in World War II. You kept your mouth shut because there could be a German spy over your left shoulder when you're standing on the street corner talking with your buds. If the DOD, inside this DOD, there have been 2 instances when outsiders, one case, that outsider was a journalist, had the ability to listen to high-level discussions about pending U.S. military actions against our enemies. In one case, the person included in those conversations who could listen to the discussions live was a media manager. True. It's very true. That addition of that person was a blunder, not intentional. They called it a mistake. Blunder, I think, is a better description. Then we come to learn that Defense Secretary, good old Pete Hegseth, intentionally, not with malice, but intentionally included a dozen people, including his ex-Fox News producer wife, on a meeting's audio feed. Not an accident, not a blunder. Okay, I will take their word for it that nothing important or vital to the national security was discussed. Who cares? You did it. Just the appearance of this is dangerous. Too many what ifs floating around for me to be comfortable. Those discussions, even if it's about procurement of toilet paper, should be held behind closed doors in total secrecy. Even if a husband or wife discusses with the spouse anything that happens, regardless of whether it's serious during DOD discussions, the possibility that a slip of the tongue during a cocktail hour or a luncheon or some other social event or just a BS session with friends, and that piece of information might be exactly the missing link and what the enemy needs to add to the other intel it gets. Take toilet paper. How many rolls to be shipped to a forward position for troops that will be deployed to the Yemen border can give away the troop strength, perhaps the length of the deployment, what units are going to be there, whatever there is that could hurt our plans for an offensive operation. Do you think drug cops share plans for a drug sting with their spouses? I can tell you they don't. People really like to brag about some sort of secret information they have, inside info, even if it seems mundane to them, a slight slip. Oh, I just had to postpone our weekend trip to the beach because Joe, the narcotics guy, has to work this weekend. He's got a really big thing coming down. And you just gave that information to a neighbor or a friend that knows what kind of work Joe does, a neighbor or a friend who has a brother or sister who is a druggie. Nope. Drug cops are obviously smarter than the people inside our government. I don't dislike Pete Hegseth, but if he is to run the Defense Department, he has a bit of growing up to get done.
Well, it's like I said, he was not my choice.
I understand that, but
I don't really care
he
for
could do
him.
the job if he wanted to.
Yes, but like I said, I'm willing to give the man a chance to go out there and prove
You
himself.
don't take your wife to sit in on discussions, not just
No,
this time.
she's a former Fox News anchor.
She has been with him to
Correspondent.
high-level meetings with
Yes.
other foreign leaders. Sat in with them. What? You're kidding me.
Mm-hmm.
See, that other stuff that's come out is just part of it. She has sat in with him at other meetings with foreign leaders.
No. Maybe this is just something that's no big deal to me. I just find that it's weakness on his part. He may prove yet to be the best we've ever had, but
He's got a lot of shows standing up.
it's just a lot of things about him that does not appeal to me for him to be in that position.
Now, I will tell you
But
that
I'm willing.
the president yesterday
give him a
came out and said,
chance.
I support him. And,
Yes, he did.
all of this and yada, 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 yada. He said
Right.
that before about people, and then they were gone. They
I'm
disappeared.
curious.
They disappeared.
Dorothy.
Here's a curious question.
Yes.
Do they have job descriptions before their?
Yeah.
Seriously, you
No.
had a job description, right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
I had job
Put
descriptions.
mail in a box.
Do you know your alphabet?
Know your ABCs and 1, 2, 3s.
Yeah.
How to read a house number. We're good.
Well, we got somebody that wants to jump into the world of politics for
And
some
I-
ungodly reason. I thought she was a lot smarter than this, but
My question is, what took so long?
well, that too. Dorothy Royal, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, guys. Good morning. Yes,
Good morning.
it is a mixture of insanity and what am I doing? But, you know, I've complained long enough, and I'm an avid believer if you're going to keep complaining and not do something about it, stop complaining.
Okay, Dorothy Royal's a resident of Holly Ridge. She's got a couple of businesses there in Holly Ridge, and she owns a bunch of houses in Holly Ridge that she rents out, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's just to put it straight. And she's a lover of weapons of mass destruction. You know, she's got a bunch of
Put it
them.
that way. She's an advocate, supporter. She's of the Second Amendment. So let's put it. That sounds better.
Much better.
Yeah.
Much better.
I just want to know, they had two guys with visas to come into Mexico, from Mexico. They bought a vehicle in the United States over in Colorado. They ended up in Salt Lake City, and they bought 180,000 .308 cartridges and 7.62 cartridges. I don't know what the mixture was, whether those 7.62s were the 7.62 by 39s, which we all know what that goes in, AKs and whatevers. But we know what the 308 goes in, probably an M14 in their case. But they got caught with 180,000 bullets, delivering them to Pueblo, to a location to be named later on, to a place in Pueblo, Colorado. They got caught because they stupidly passed a couple of detectives, and they weren't obeying the traffic laws. Crooks are not smart,
Yeah.
are they?
No.
That's mildly suspicious and incredibly expensive ammo, not to mention
Yeah.
anything else about it. I mean, they came money included on that deal.
Now,
So-
would you have sold enough? First of okay, so they were here legally with visas, temporary visas. Would you have been suspicious of somebody wanting to buy 180,000 bullets from you? Anybody?
I certainly would have been suspicious. I don't certainly stock 180,000 rounds of 308 at any time.
No,
I'm
darn.
sure when I would place an order for that gentleman to make that order, there would be questions on the other end as well.
No, they just walked in and bought them from this store. And I would be questioning this store in Salt Lake City personally. You had
That's a lot of rounds.
you had this in stock? Is this just? I know ATF's all over that one right now, but just
Yeah.
Wait
know
a minute.
that.
Wait a
So-
minute. Wait a minute. I want to hear why she's calling.
well, we're going to get to that.
No, I don't want to talk about that.
We had to establish what kind of a person she is.
We know.
No, she's been a very outspoken. Dorothy's been a very outspoken advocate for the people of Holly Ridge and all over the
Yes,
area.
yes,
but,
she has been, yes.
very. And you've attended what, 3 city council meetings in the last 3 or 4 years?
I've been to quite a few, and I've got to tell you, that's one of the reasons I'm running. Is in this day and age, we have to bring common sense back.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, in most small government meetings, when you sit through enough of them, you get a left eye twitch going because you're like, this can't be reality. But in this particular case, this is a small town very close to the beach in between Wilmington and Jacksonville that's experiencing growth of all kinds. We have an industrial park now, which is in the center of town. And I'm not necessarily a fan of that because it's a very strange thing. If you Google small towns with an industrial park smack dab in the center, you don't find any.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it's kind of unique in that process. But being close to the beach and close to Wilmington and Jacksonville, of course, the military base, I mean, it's a very unique little part of our community. And it does border Pender County, so it's the farthest reaching southern part of Onslow County.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a lot of family heritage there. My kids were born there. My husband was born there. So it's just been time for me to say it's time to step up.
And you're
And
stepping
so-
up, and you're going to run for public office, and that public office is
Mayor. I'm going to run for mayor of Holly Ridge.
we're going right straight to the top. Good for you.
I like
Yeah.
Going
it.
right to the top.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Well, you
Well,
know what?
thank you.
It's good to see somebody from the roots of the town
Yeah.
do this. Somebody that's put their heart and soul into it, and somebody
And
that's
money.
been there, yes, and money, and contributed to the well-being of Holly Ridge. I mean, look, she was the one behind the first annual bee festival
Oh, yeah.
last
Well, she
year.
was the bee festival.
She was, and that was a fantastic
Yeah.
event. Fantastic. A lot of people came out for that, and we're looking forward to it again this year. But yeah, Dorothy has been a voice of reason. Whenever something is happening in Holly Ridge that people need to know about, she's putting it out there for us to read. And so I think it's good because the last mayor you had who resigned to go, to devote more time towards
Well,
his personal
moved
business.
from the city limits too, right?
I don't remember, but he was not from Holly Ridge. And then, not Charlie, Dorothy, I'm correct. The one that is the interim mayor right now, he's not originally from this area, is he?
No, and the irony of that is that he had just been appointed to fill the position of a council person who
Right.
left.
Right.
And he had not even been in that position months. And all of a sudden, when the other mayor, the former mayor, left, he recommended this gentleman who's currently in there to take over his role, which kind of caught everybody by surprise since he really hadn't yet learned the role of council. So it was kind of like we call it the whack-a-mole of Holly Ridge. We've had so many replacements. There's so many people that are up for re-election next time that are appointees that were never elected. So that's going to change the dynamic of things because in reality, they can't say, I'm running for re-election. You were never elected. So
right.
that's
No, that's right.
Dorothy,
Yeah.
let me say this. I had a chance to meet with a lot of your law enforcement and your fire department personnel about buddies. I was at a program there, and they were all there.
Able buddies.
Able bodies. Able buddies.
Able
Able
buddies.
buddies. I'm sorry. I apologize. Able buddies. I just got to tell you, they are just some wonderful, wonderful employees of that town. They were wonderful.
Yeah, they are. I know the police chief, but I know him through his dad, who was a career law enforcement officer in New Hanover County, and with the same name, Mike Sorg. He comes from great stock.
Yeah.
And I've had some conversations with him over the past year or so. So Holly Ridge is moving in the right direction. Let's just put it that way.
Yes, and just to bring up a note about Able Buddies, on May 17th at the Paradise Axe and Arcade, we're having a fundraiser for Able Buddies called Battle of the Badge. And it's an axe throwing competition between the local law enforcement.
Do they get
So
to wear
that'll
their
be from
vest?
12 to 3. Do they what?
Do they get to wear their vest? I mean, these things, will they put, oh, they're not throwing the axes at each other, are they?
Yes.
But if you all are around, come on out May 17th from noon to 3. But it'll be a fundraiser for Able Buddies, which is a phenomenal program for our local area.
That's cool.
That's
And,
great.
Yeah,
My good.
Oh,
yeah, so that'll be fun too.
My money's on Officer Holly Brandt I think is her name.
Holly
It's a
Brandt?
female. Yeah, you
Yeah.
better watch out. She puts that axe in her hand.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
happens.
Why do you think that she can do the job?
Because all the men that night that I was out there doing for Crime Stoppers, they all gave her respect that is deserved.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
They're scared of her. That's a good thing for a cop to be in. That's a great position.
Yeah.
Okay, well
Yeah.
that's good. I'm glad you're doing that and putting it all there at your Palisades place, your
Yeah,
arcade.
Paradise Axe and Arcade.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Axe and arcade, that always still gets to me. Attached to a gun store. That's great.
That serves Hershey's ice cream.
Yeah, I still go looking for the 1940s pole that was in there. I'm sure there had to be some pole dancing going on at the club at one time, right?
Yeah.
Oh, who knows? If that building could only talk.
Oh no, our ears would all burn. I'm sure.
Can I ask
Yeah.
Dorothy real quick?
Of course.
Dorothy, when you're talking about the Hershey's ice cream, you're talking about the brown containers in a cooler where you
Yeah, the
scoop
big-
it out?
the big-
Yeah.
Oh yes, yes,
Yep.
Yeah.
yes.
Yep.
What? Now y'all talking about ice cream. I want to go back to talk about Dorothy running
Okay,
for
I'm
mayor.
sorry. Sorry.
She's going to have a ice cream in every freezer
Oh my God.
instead of a chicken in every pot.
So Dorothy, when does filing open up?
Filing this year is late. It's actually in July.
Right.
So the official filing, I believe, starts July 8th and goes for approximately 10 days.
And then the
But we've already
election's in
filled out-
November, right?
Right. The election's in November. And I'm going to have a kickoff party in May and a cookout,
Good.
stuff like that.
All right.
So get some fun going in the community. But I did want to make the first formal announcement here on Rayford's show, since you guys have been so wonderful to me all for all these years. And,
Oh, yeah.
and in fact, when I went to register at the Board of Elections, the gentleman said, I know you from Rayford's show.
Yeah.
So that was awesome.
Appreciate it. You know,
That was awesome.
you know, my first meeting with Dorothy,
No win.
I was reading an article somewhere that Dorothy Royal had been interviewed by someone or had written a letter to the editor. Maybe it was a letter to the editor, wherever. And that as a gun store owner, she was precluded from buying advertising on a certain cable station or cable company. They would not allow guns to be advertised on their
wow.
cable channels.
Well, I bought my last weapon that I purchased from Dorothy's.
I've never bought a gun
because
from Dorothy.
After a gun. After getting to know her from calling in the show, etc. And that's where I bought my last one from, was her place.
I bought my last ones from her as well. I don't
Right.
think I bought one from anybody else in a long time. Not as long as Dorothy's in business. I got a place to go.
I need to stop by and see her because I want a shotgun. Just
Okay.
Oh, they're so inexpensive right now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
$199 and up.
How much?
Ridiculous.
$199 and up.
$199 and up.
Ooh.
It's crazy what you can get these days. That's the only thing in our
So
economy that
soon.
did not go up in price of firearms.
Now you're not going to get one for hunting.
No,
birds
this
and
is
stuff,
just
right?
for home.
Okay.
That's all.
Dorothy, she needs a short barrel.
I
Yeah,
mean,
does.
I have plenty of other, but I would just love to have one of those pump act. Just want to when they come
Oh,
to
yeah.
the, you know what I mean. I've always wanted one.
I
You
don't
would
know
think
what-
I would have plenty of them, but no, I don't. But anyway, so
I mean,
getting
like
back to
the one over here
Dorothy.
in the corner.
Dorothy, how many council member seats are up this year?
There'll be 3 council members. Wait a minute. 3 council member seats. So Greg Hines, who of course will be on the council,
He's been there
50 years this year. He's
forever,
up.
right?
His seat's up. Walter Zambicki's seat is up. He was an appointee. Pam Hall's seat is up. She was an
Oh,
appointee.
Lord.
And the mayor's seat.
she got appointed back on?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't know that.
She got appointed back on.
She was like mayor pro tem back 4 or 5 years ago, wasn't she?
Yeah,
At one time?
yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so what kind of platform are you going to run on? How are you going to get your word out? I mean, you're going to talk to people, and what are you going to tell them? Why should they elect you? Let's give you the 30-second commercial type thing.
Home
What
girl.
would you say?
Here's my simple statement on this. I think that if you have the right people in the right jobs, everything becomes simpler. And I think that we're missing that. There's a lack there in Holly Ridge of perhaps some of even the town employees that are just not the right fit, which makes everything else a little bit more difficult.
Mhm.
And I think it's time, with the number of people we have, with the tax revenues coming in, that we really have the right people doing the right job to benefit everybody. And, you know, we went to the grand opening of the new park in Sneedsbury a couple weeks ago, and that's beautiful. And I'm thinking to myself, here's an unincorporated part of the area getting this great revision of this wonderful park for all these kids in the community. We have a park in Holly Ridge that's a little bit too small for our community, if you ask me. And we're, considering now spending $10 million on upfitting it. I don't see that being a great use of our money. I think we're better off acquiring a different piece of property and building a real park where we can have real festivals and real events. And it's just that I think some of the ideas are a little bit tired. And I just feel at this point that it needs a little bit of revision, a little bit of outside looking in, and also somebody who knows the area and has been part of the area for so many years, who understands the dynamic of all these families that have been there forever and of all these new people coming in and the things that people really want. I keep hearing people talk about sidewalks. Well, ironically, the only building in all of Holly Ridge that has a sidewalk is mine.
Yeah,
So,
Yes.
and that dates
You
back
know,
to the 40s.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly. With concrete that they could have built the pyramids with, but it's very hard concrete. But I'm just saying, I think there's real things out there that affect everyday people. I think we need a lot more activities for kids. We have too many kids right now, and they're not being given anything to do. And look, I'm not a beach person. I burn the minute I walk outside in the sun. So when people say, oh, well, you got the beach right down the road, that's not always the answer. We need to have entertaining things that keep kids busy and keep kids wanting more. You know, even if it's fitness trails or things like that. And, you know, when I went to the Board of Elections the other day, they have the most wonderful little park right there that I believe now understand used to be a school.
Mm-hmm.
I did not realize this until I went there the other day that was a school campus. And they have these wonderful fitness equipment things all throughout this walking trail. And I thought, why don't we have something this simple? So it's just little things like that that can make the community better for everybody that just, to me, need to be implemented.
Hey,
All right. I
that
believe
sounds
this
good.
young lady is forward thinking.
Oh yeah, she's she's putting some grassroots knowledge to work here, because you got to have a solid foundation
With the
like that
growth.
sidewalk she's talking about. But if you got a solid foundation, it's fairly easy to make things work. If you got a big park, you can bring things in there. Number one, you can have a park for kids all the time, and for adults,
Absolutely.
and for adults.
Yep.
But you can have things like that, and then you can bring in events.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness gracious! You got land there. There's land that's available
Well, with
We've got land and we've got to take advantage of it now before
Yes.
it's developed.
while it still is available.
the growth.
Yes.
The growth in Holly Ridge,
Mhm.
I mean, it has been exploding
Yeah.
for the last, 5 years or so?
Well, it's
I
going back to
agree.
what it did in the 30s and 40s, because Holly Ridge was literally a boom town. That's where the boom town
Mhm.
business started. A grocery
Yeah.
store started there by the same people who had Boomtown
Right,
in downtown
right.
Jacksonville later on. Holly Ridge was bigger than Jacksonville.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
would like to see, just like Dorothy said, I would like to see it grow as far as recreational facilities for the youth.
Yeah.
A bigger park, because she's right, that park is small.
Mhm.
And you ever try to go park there at an event?
There is no
I
parking.
mean, look at the Bee Festival. I mean, they did a fantastic job with the
But they had to
parking.
close off the streets.
But they had to close off
Yeah.
a couple blocks in order for people to park. And town hall, if you go to a meeting there, we went to a meeting one night,
Yeah.
Rayford, to cover a story. And it's like you had to get there really super early to be able to park, So,
Right.
yeah, I think the
I
town
just
needs to
go over the
grow.
sidewalk.
Yeah, town needs to grow. And it
Yeah.
needs to be able to have stuff like that for the residents, because Holly Ridge has grown.
It has.
Oh yeah, and Rayford, Rayford was part of the 75th anniversary of Camp Davis. There's so
Ah.
much history in this town that's being forgotten.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And,
Yes.
if any of your listeners out there have the ability to get us a tank or something that we can put right on 17 with a nice picnic table that we can put the history of Holly Ridge up, or an old style plane, I know they exist. I know they're sitting on bases somewhere.
Do you
And
think?
I just think
You
for
think?
somebody to say, let's, go ahead.
Do you think Chief Sword would run the serial number if one showed up in your backyard?
no, he would not. I
Good.
can promise you
We're
that.
gonna file it off. We're gonna file it off, Rayford.
We'll put another one
You got a
on.
sander, don't you?
We know how to do that.
Come
I mean,
registered to a
right.
1972 Toyota van.
Yep.
No, that would be a great idea. You
Yes.
just don't. I mean, Camp Davis, folks, y'all don't know. I wasn't alive when Camp Davis was there, but I was there. I was born shortly after that, and we spent many a time going to Wilmington, because that's where my grandparents were, back and forth, and we would stop there and have just beside the road over there, underneath the big entrance towers, the bulkheads there.
Mhm.
We would pull over there on a shoulder and we'd eat a picnic lunch before we got to Wilmington. That was one of the things my family did. It was cool to do things like that. My late uncle, he helped build in the 30s Camp Davis. He worked there. He
Mhm.
drove from Wilmington every day
Right,
to
right.
work there in construction to help build
well,
Camp
we have
Davis.
phase 2 under construction right now, don't we, Dorothy, out there?
I'm talking about the real Camp Davis.
No, but I'm talking about what they've got going right now. Aren't they building a whole new phase out there?
Oh, they're very active with it. Let me put you this way: we've been having plane or military operations going on to the point that everybody's fillings
Yes.
in their teeth have been vibrating. Yeah, we've
Hey,
had
welcome to
planes
Jacksonville.
on
We-
Yeah, they
we-
lay it. They're right above the tree lines. I can read
Cool.
the belly numbers on every one of these aircraft.
Yay.
Absolutely,
Wow.
absolutely.
Well, that's cool. It is the sound of a sound of freedom, and we do like it. Maybe you could steal that sign and put it up on the entrance.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well,
Well, it's the sound of freedom now, and it started in the past, but
Yep.
we need to really get people aware of the history because they just don't know.
how about the return of the sound of freedom?
There you go.
Well, Dorothy, congratulations on.
Glad
on
you're stepping
turning
up to
your
the plate there.
Yeah, thank you for doing
it's
that.
time you did it. To be honest with you, it's past time you did it. Go forth, young woman. Go
I'm
forth.
hearing that from a lot of people.
I agree. Yeah, she's been a.
I always had faith. I had faith that somebody would step up and do the right things. And after all these years of complaining, I said, well, it's not happening.
Well,
I think I remember the last election, her talking about people
yeah.
need to step up.
yeah.
People need to step up.
Put your
And
mouth where your money
look
is,
what
right?
she's done now.
That's right.
Put your money where your
That's
mouth
right.
is.
Right.
That's good. Okay. Very good. Dorothy, thank you.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
We'll be
Congratulations
talking
again.
to you, and your get together for your meet and greeter is coming up in May. Is that what it is?
Remind us.
Yes, I will. I will. Once we get closer to a date, I'll go ahead and give you a call back.
Thank you.
Okay. Sounds
All right,
great.
Dorothy Royal.
Have a
Thank you.
great day.
Lock,
you.
lock, lock and load.
Lock it up. Okay, Rayford. Lock it
Ah,
up. Well, I'm very proud of her,
Uh-huh.
and I think it's great that you've got somebody who's a homegirl
Mhm.
stepping up to the plate there. And I'm not saying these out-of-towners that have moved in from down from the north or whatever aren't good. I mean, I'm not saying anything wrong with that, but I'd like to see the home folks
Yeah, she
up there taking care of them.
became persona non grata
Yes,
with a bunch of stuff down there. One of
Right.
them was her gun shop. Okay,
right.
Surf City Guns and Ammo. It's
Right.
called right. Surf City Guns and Ammo. Okay, so she, at one time, some idiot, and I don't even use the term loosely. This is a
Mhm.
specific idiot at FedEx decided that if a business had the name guns in it, was not going to get deliveries.
Yeah, well,
Was not
there's
going to get deliveries, and
there's-
she ordered everything from T-shirts to be
Mhm.
shipped in. Surf City Guns and Ammo. No, they returned it.
Well, she even opened up an arcade for the kids.
Yes,
So
Kids
that's
and
a
adults.
place,
with vintage,
right? Vintage
old
machines,
vintage
Oh.
arcades.
ping
Oh,
pong
you and I
machines,
love
yeah,
that
the-
stuff.
Pac-Man?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Pre-Pac-Man.
Yes.
Way pre-Pac-Man.
Oh, yeah,
This is
the
cool
very
stuff.
original Pac-Man.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we got a call before we go to weather.
That's Charlie.
Hey, Chucky.
Call him Chucky.
Hey, Charlie.
He didn't want me to call him Charlie. He wanted to be unrecognizable. So, hey, Chucky, what's up?
Yeah, check it. So listen, I enjoyed the last 15 minutes of that segment. So I tried to do some research on all three of you guys. I'm just curious, how did you guys connect?
We
How did you guys meet?
We all got bailed out by the same bondsman.
Researching me?
No, I'm not researching you. I know I went to Facebook. I was like watching you guys.
Oh.
I'm just curious how you guys, not Mr. Atlas, but the three of you. How did you guys connect?
Well, I grew up here.
She was the postmaster, so she was in charge of the post office, so she knew everybody. She was also chairman of the Onslow County Republican Party. I think it's probably the first time I've had any dealings with you, right?
Right. I also owned a gun store,
gun
a
store.
range, and had a federal firearms license,
Mhm.
co-owner of Armed Security Guard Agency, and was a private investigator. So I've done all that too. So I knew a lot of people.
See, Charlie,
Hey, you actually have Lee. Hey, Lee, do you have a gun?
No, she doesn't
I
have a
have
gun.
several. Yes, I
Hold on.
have
Do you have a
guns.
firearm? Do you have a firearm on you right now?
Not in
You
where
don't
I'm
need-
sitting, no. But I always have one close by. It's just what I do.
But in your car while you're driving, or when you go into Target, do you have access to a weapon?
If it's a business that allows you to carry a firearm within, most of the time, yes, I have one with me, but I don't go shopping a lot.
Wow. You know what? I think you're a woman that I would like to have a friendship with. I've never,
He
that's so
needs
bizarre to me.
protection is what he needs.
No, I just think it's bizarre. Yes, maybe so. The fact that she has a weapon that's bizarre to me.
Well,
Really?
I was in that world. Like I said, we
I
had
find it bizarre she didn't have
we
one.
built a gun store here in Onslow County, and we had a range, and it was an indoor range and outdoor range. And I taught NRA classes and safety classes. I taught security guards that we hired on the use of deadly force. So I'm pretty familiar with all that. There's been a lot of changes over the years. Would I go back into it? No, but I just take it with me. What knowledge I have left, I take it with me.
Mine, Charlie.
Did you make good money? Hold on, let me ask you a question. Did you make good money training those individuals that weren't, I mean, that's pretty amazing that you trained people to carry a firearm privately. That's what you did, correct?
No.
Yours was for your own armed security
We
personnel.
owned our own armed security agency, so we hired people to be armed guards, whether it was a bodyguard, whether it was working at a school. We used to do a lot of the schools before they went to the school resource program, officer program. And we would also do like nighttime patrols where a business would hire us to check their business nightly. We had a bunch of county schools we had to walk and shake every door and window every night. We had country music stars that would come to the area that we had to provide security services for them. So we did a lot of everything. And yes, we had to put them through a training course, which is nothing at all like
So you were licensed.
Yes.
You were licensed to regulate individuals to carry firearms.
Yes,
correct?
yes. We had to
That's
teach
pretty
them.
impressive.
Yeah,
That's
and
very impressive to me.
it's impressive. It was at that time. Would I do it now? No, because the way the world is now, I don't want to be liable for a security guard shooting somebody
Yeah.
and getting sued. And I mean, that was then.
Part of the business.
That's when things were so much simpler than what they are nowadays. Yeah. So.
That's pretty amazing. You actually had some sort of license, a business license, where you were involved with people where they would shoot a weapon
Yes.
in a private or a public type situation. You had some sort of license to teach them, correct?
Yeah, that was part of being the business owner. Plus, our licenses
That's
that we
amazing.
had
That's
were
amazing.
under the Private Protective Services Board, state of North Carolina, under the SBI. So that's where
State
we were
Bureau of
licensed
That's
Investigation.
through.
amazing.
Yeah, we were licensed through there.
That's
so.
amazing to me. That's
Eh.
actually that's extremely impressive to
Lifetime
me.
ago.
That means that you've got something inside your brain that you have an ability to. Listen, all human beings are completely nuts. Some of them are really good, but the
I
fact
have
that
my
you had
moments.
some sort of license to teach people how to own a gun, a firearm, to shoot that's very impressive to me.
Well, I
Anyway.
think it's important that people need to learn how to handle a firearm.
Oh, yeah.
Rayford are going to tell you stories.
Brain.
Because these people that just go out and buy one and load it, stick it in their pocket, thinking they're being cool, there's a lot more to understanding a weapon. Safety is the biggest thing,
Responsibility.
and knowing when you can and cannot use it.
So, Rayford, you were a police officer, correct?
Yep. Amongst other things.
That's amazing to me.
Why?
Yeah. Listen. I'm not a nutcase. I'm not like a monster human being. I would never want me to have a gun. Here's why I would never want someone like me to have a gun. I would never want to shoot anybody. I'm not a monster that would like walk into a mall and like, I'm going to start shooting people. I would be concerned that I would like accidentally drop it and it would go off.
Nope. They
And
don't
I'm
do
like-
that.
They won't do
That's
that.
a lie. If anybody that ever
Mhm.
tells you that, that's a lie unless it's a defective
True.
weapon.
Yeah, but okay. But you realize that it takes a special human being to carry this massive weapon that can basically kill someone. That's a unique person that has to own that weapon, correct?
Well, no, yeah, it should be a unique person to, if they own the weapon, but anybody should be able to buy one. I agree. Hold on, you didn't let me finish. As long as they can meet certain minimum qualifications, being able, number one, being of sound mind and body. I don't want a paraplegic carrying a gun. If you got no hands, no feet, I don't really want you carrying a gun. You understand? There are certain things. If you're mentally incompetent, if you're mentally incompetent, I don't want you carrying a gun. I don't want you having access to a gun.
Yeah, you don't want to say a paraplegic. A paraplegic means someone that doesn't have limbs.
That's what I'm saying. I would not want them to have a gun. That just goes without saying.
But mentally unstable, right. But to carry a gun, like, listen, I hate where I live. I know when I walk outside my door, within my 8 hours of dealing with the public, there's a really good chance that I'm going to come across someone that's a monster, and I should probably have a weapon with me, but I don't. It takes us. I think it takes a special person to be able to have that type of weaponry on their person.
Well, let me just, may I give you just a little advice before you even, I know you're not going to because you've already made that fairly clear, but for anybody else, before they decide that they're going to buy a gun and learn how to use it, you're going to have to do one thing. You're going to have to decide whether you can live with having to pull the trigger and take another person's life. If you cannot do that in your mind in advance and be perfectly willing to do it, you don't want to do it, but you've got to be perfectly willing to understand that it is your life or your spouse's life or whatever, or that other person's life. That's the choice you've got to make. Will you be able to live with that? If the answer is no, then you're better off without the gun and just run.
Okay, yeah, you know what? I think I'm more of a fighter. I think I'm more of a man that if I see a woman being violated, I will get involved. But I think some men, they would just rather have a gun and shoot the other person. So no, I don't. I'm not. I should not be able to. I don't need a gun.
Yeah, and I appreciate that.
And not a problem with that.
I appreciate that.
I'm glad you recognize that.
That's
fact.
right.
No, but if I saw somebody, attacking Lee, I'd get involved. I might die. I may be killed. But if I had a gun, I may be all over the place. I'm like, bam, 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 bam.
So here's the other thing. You're not a cop when you carry a gun. You're not there to defend anybody but yourself. And did I not say go on the offense? To defend anybody but yourself and your immediate family, those who are surrounding you. You're not there to go charging into a battle. That is a cop's duty. They're trained to do it. You ain't. Even if you've got a license to carry that gun, there's the difference.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Do you think that some people, not all, once they get they get that license, they carry that gun in public? Do you think it inflates their ego?
Yes.
Yes.
Like when they,
Yes.
They think they're Clint Eastwood.
Like when do you think like when they walk into like 7-Eleven, and maybe. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just thinking. I just had a sort of a parallel there. There are people out there who will go buy a big old car. I don't know what the big cars today are. Let's say they got a good old 442 Oldsmobile from back in the day, 400 cubic inches of fire-breathing machine. Jack, you're not Mario Andretti. Okay? That 400 horsepower will likely get you or somebody else killed because you're an idiot for having it and just because you want to get out and run fast up and down the highway. No. You're not Jeff Gordon for the people who are more recent than Mario Andretti, but you're just not qualified to do things like that. People who go strap a hog leg on and think they're going to walk a big pistol and walk around and say, I can do this. No, you can't. First of all, most of the people that you go up against will make you eat that gun. And the worst thing in the world is having an idiot with a gun who doesn't know how to use it and they take it away from him and he gets shot with his own gun. That happens on a regular basis.
Yeah. Listen, I'm going to take off. But
Okay.
Charlie would not be good with a gun. Charlie would be the person at the store at 7-Eleven where a woman is being violated and Charlie's like, hey, you got to take a break. You got to relax. And the guy's like, I'm not going to relax. I'm like, okay, no, you got to relax. And Charlie would be like, you know what? I'm going to grab you by your head. I'm going to slam your face into the ground. I'm going to hurt you. But I'm not a violent person. I don't want to hurt anybody. But if Charlie had a gun, I might be all like wild west. I might just start shooting the jagged license. I might just like bang. I'm not going to. That's not me.
You're responsible.
I think it takes
you'll be held civilly and criminally responsible for every bullet that you missed the bad guy with.
Right. No. I think you're qualified to own a weapon. I think you're the kind of person that can go out in public. It can have a weapon, and you can act normal. You can walk into your local Olive Garden, have a nice meal. You're not looking to cause problems. You walk out. Yeah. I don't want a gun. If I had a gun, I don't know who. I don't know what would happen with Charlie.
Well, I'm glad you
I don't know.
recognize
Maybe
that.
I'd, like valley park my car. Yeah, I don't want a gun.
You're one of the. You're one of the.
At least I'm honest about it.
You're one of the smarter people out there, Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. You guys have a good day.
Thank
You too, Charlie.
Offshore today, out to 20 nautical miles. How did we get there? Southwesterly winds 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 3 feet, 4 seconds apart, sounds and rivers of moderate chop. Offshore Wednesday, tomorrow, southwesterly winds 5 to 10, becoming southerly in the afternoon, seas 2 to 3 feet, sounds and rivers of light chop, diminishing to being flat in the afternoon. Thursday, northeasterly winds 5 to 10, seas 2 to 3, sounds and rivers of light chop. Surf temperature is kicking on up there a little bit. It's up in the 60s, low 60s, and some places going to be about 63, 64. And then within a week or so, it's going to be up there pretty close to 68 degrees. And then you just go down there and throw your line overboard at the fishing piers and catch speckled trout. Not speckled trout, Spanish mackerel, sorry. Can't catch speckled trout. It's illegal right now. Can't catch any specks and keep them. Your turn.
Oh, already?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Today, I was just interested in the fish. My nephew, I asked him yesterday what he's been catching, and he actually caught some mullet. And then he caught a
The
flounder,
Virginia mullet can't keep the flounder either.
but it was as big as his hand.
Can't
It
keep
was,
doesn't
well,
matter.
he knows that. Everybody knows that. I mean, this thing was some 5 inches, but I was like, wow. Anyway, and they caught a big logger turtle the other day, and they called the turtle rescue to come get it, because they had the fish hook stuck in it and all that. So
Oh my.
the Beasley turtle rescue people. So
Okay. Good.
anyway, okay. Today, mostly sunny with a high near 85, light south winds 5 to 9 miles per hour. Winds could gust as high as 15. Tonight, a chance of showers and thunderstorms, mostly cloudy with a low around 64. Wednesday, a 60% chance of showers and thunderstorms, mostly cloudy with a high near 81. And Thursday, we're hoping the chance of afternoon showers with thunderstorms are possible after 2 p.m., partly sunny with a high near 80. So praying for that rain. Pray.
After tomorrow after 1:30, please.
Yeah, okay.
For me.
Okay. Well, they're saying there's a possibility that maybe after 4 this afternoon, some folks in the
Yeah.
viewing area here in the eastern part of the county, state, or we might get a little bit of rain, but most of it's supposed to start coming in tonight. It's going to be hit and miss. It's going to be everywhere. So
Okay, we got some
Let's
stuff
hope.
here. There are several reports coming from the Public Affairs Office of the Onslow Sheriff's Office.
What's going
Damn
on?
it, hold on.
While Rachel looks at the reason I'm asking for no rain until after 1:30 tomorrow is I'm going to play golf tomorrow after the show.
Well, you can golf in the rain.
I don't
all done
mind
it.
golfing in the rain.
We've all done it.
I don't mind golfing in the rain. I don't mind cold. Don't mind snow.
I've golfed when it was 125 degrees out, and Dad wanted to do the second round of 8, and I'm like, no, second round of nine, yeah, and I'm like, what?
8?
I love it.
That was a short course.
It's too
8
hot.
holes on a short course.
Too
One
hot.
of them got filled in by mistake.
When he wasn't looking, my sister and I would just pick up the ball and throw it to the next hole to make him think we were rushing.
You know, when we moved out here,
We were
as
bad.
little kids, right? Golf course is open over there. everything was woods on that side.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There were a couple of kids in the neighborhood, according to reliable sources, who would go out there, and there's some hills, and go down to the woodsy area there and look down the hill, and the guys on the other side of the hill, they just know where they're
About, yeah.
general aiming, right? And then those balls would come down there, and one or two little kids would run out, grab that ball, and run back into the woods. Then you'd see people out there looking in the bushes,
Yeah.
in the rug. Never they could find those balls. I'm just saying that's according to reliable sources from yesteryear. Statute of limitations has expired. Last week, deputies with the Onslow Sheriff's Office, along with multiple state and federal agencies, investigated dozens of cyber tips about child abuse. The deputies, along with agents with the FBI, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigations, and the Jacksonville PD, conducted investigations into 49 cyber tips sent through the Sheriff's Office Internet Crimes Against Children system. Law enforcement went to 37 addresses. They were busy clearing some of the tips. However, several investigations are ongoing. The cyber tips the Sheriff's Office received range from sex crimes against children, child abuse, online sexual exploitation of children, and solicitation of sex acts of children online.
It's crazy.
Sick.
Protecting our most valuable, vulnerable citizens, our children, is a responsibility we all share. This is coming from Sheriff Chris Thomas. Our office is committed to standing with families, schools, and partners to ensure every child grows up safe, supported, and heard. This month, April, National Child Abuse Prevention Month. It's the perfect time, the sheriff says, to recognize the importance of supporting families and communities and creating safe, nurturing environments for children to thrive in. Every child deserves to grow up free from harm, and prevention starts with awareness, education, and action. Preventing child abuse requires a comprehensive approach, including education and awareness within the community and for parents. Onslow County Peers Family Development Center offers parents guidance on effective parenting techniques, emotional management, and child development. Increase community awareness about the signs of child abuse, how to identify it, and the steps to take if abuse is suspected. Mental health resources. This plays a big deal. And when you're dealing with predators, abusers, mental health plays a big role in that. If Bruce Kelly was here right now, we could talk about that, which we can talk about next week. There are community support networks out there. You guys need to pay attention to it. You need to pay attention to what your children are doing. You need to pay attention. They are your children. They don't own a cell phone. They're using yours. You have every right to have the passwords for it. You have every right to have the password for their computers. You have the responsibility of checking their cell phones and their computers. They are vulnerable. It's not that they're bad little kids. No. They're going to do stupid little stuff, but you need to know who's out there waiting. You need to know. You would not send your child into the jungle where there are gorillas, where there are lions, where there are tigers, without being there to protect them, would you? You got the same kinds of critters running around every day on every website out there. It's there. You need to have safe spaces for your children. They should be in schools. They should be in community centers. They should be online where children can talk to adults, maybe not even their parents, who they trust.
Right.
Yeah, we see on the television police shows and things where they're doing this, they're setting it up, and the police officers do a great job of pretending to be, pretending to be a child or someone. When they start getting tips that a certain website has got jerks
working it, and it seems suspicious. And
Mhm.
you've got people in the sheriff's office here and in other law enforcement agencies who are very attuned to what to look for. They're also looking for drug activity, but you know, those are the easy ones. But when they start looking and they suspect something, then they will put out a note that, hey, you know, let's just put it this way. When I was at the news station, we had a young female, and I asked her, I said, you want to try something? Let's just start you an email account. hotgirl@hotmail.com. That's all she did. She didn't advertise it. It wasn't on social media. You should have read the emails that came to her. It was a setup on our part. We were cheap. We just did it.
Right.
We had no law enforcement capabilities, but her bio, her information indicated she was like 14 years old. I forgot. I think that was the age we gave her, 14, when they checked her. I'm sorry. You guys are stupid. And you're going to get caught one day. Your family's going to suffer. You're going to suffer because once they label you with that one, dude, you're one and done for the rest of your life. And if you've got a career, nah, good luck. They won't even let you bag groceries at the grocery store.
Well, for those that may suspect something like this,
We're going to
call Crime
That's
Stoppers.
where we were going next.
That's
Call
right.
Crime Stoppers and report
I
it.
still have a ticket left.
I got 2.
Oh, for the yeah, that's right. We're almost done with the April.
No, we got 8 days. To go.
8 days left to use
I gotta get
your
out there.
use
Spend
your
my other ticket.
fundraiser tickets for Crime Stoppers. But if you see anything, I see a lot of these things called greater neighborhood watches and things
Yes.
like
Right,
that.
right.
And
There's so many.
and then people are posting, "Has this happened to you?" And it's a ring picture and
I
stuff.
saw where you had commented on one
Yeah.
about Crime
Yeah,
Stoppers.
and I try to do that to let them know.
Mhm.
If you call Crime Stoppers, call that tip in. It goes to the appropriate law enforcement, whether it's JPD, also Sheriff's Department, the base, because we do the base, Holly Ridge, wherever.
Yep.
They'll send somebody out there to look at it. That's going to get these people. It's going to get them. You may get a reward out of it.
Yeah, well, my reward would be that they got nailed. Just
Well-
send me the pictures and let me know when it's going to happen.
Some people do feel that way.
Oh, I do. You can keep the
They
money.
want the money.
You can keep the money. That's just $1 million. I'll
It's a
probably
great,
take that.
great organization.
It is a great
Celebrating their
organization. You can
25th
call
year?
We had our 25th, yes.
25th anniversary. So you can call Crime Stoppers at any time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, Christmas included. The number is 910. I can't remember off the top of my hat. It's in my cell phone.
938 4358.
4358. Sounds familiar. 938-4358. That's your local Crime Stoppers 910 area code.
Theo,
You can also reach out to, if you want some help with your kids, you want your kids to get involved with some people that they can talk with. Peers Family Development Center,
Yes.
right here. Great group of
Yes.
people.
They are.
You can go to OC Peers. That's PEERS 1977, the year 1977. It's a great year. OC Peers is in Onslow County Peers. 1977, the most popular email address in the world is at gmail.com. You can
Nine-
also call them at 910-123-4567. Now, if you had that number, you're good to go. 910-123-4567. That's the Onslow Pierce Family Development Center. Our buddy, Theo. Good morning, adorable. How are you?
Deplorables, what's going on?
Oh, not a whole lot. How about you?
Not a whole lot. Chris,
Morning, Theo.
how are you?
Any better, there'd be 2 of me.
I'm ready to give you another chance.
Okay.
Another get out of jail card.
Thursday, 10 o'clock.
Okay. That's
Good.
Is that tomorrow?
Yes. No, that's
tomorrow's
day after
Wednesday.
tomorrow.
Thursday.
Oh, you guys lost the track of time.
Yes, absolutely. We're having a blast. We don't pay attention to time.
So I heard Dorothy running for mayor.
She is.
yes, how about that?
Does she believe in term limits?
I don't know.
Ask her next time or she's going to run forever. Ask her if she knows about term limits, if she's for it.
She knows all about them. I'll find out.
Yeah.
Well, go to her first meet and greet. You can ask her all the questions then.
When is that?
It's in May. We'll
It's
let
in
you
May.
know.
We'll let you know,
17th
yes.
comes to mind, but I don't know.
Right.
I think that's what she said, but I'll find out.
Oh.
All right, very good. So, Chris, I'll see you soon.
Yes, sir.
48 hours and he'll
See
be
you
there.
at 10 o'clock.
All right.
49
take care.
hours. He'll be
Thanks, Theo.
there. Thank you, Theo.
Bye.
Real quick, before we go any further, I want to send out congratulations to the Jacksonville Cardinals baseball team
Yay!
Yeah.
for winning the 2025 Touchstone Energy Baseball Classic Tournament title.
Football.
And our friend Chris
baseball.
Miller has done a very nice story on it, which we have shared on our page, so be sure to go read it.
Chris is back.
Well, this is a story that was posted, so
Yeah.
he could post it from anywhere.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know whether he's back in the area or not.
Yeah,
He'll be back with us Thursday. So.
that's a wonderful tournament, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, we have the basketball that
Yes.
happens during the wintertime during a holiday,
Yes.
and then the baseball tournament with
Right,
the local high
right.
school teams. It's
And it won't be long till our Ospreys are up to bats.
Yeah.
Soon to one.
We
And
need to
they'll be
have
practicing coming
some
up
of them
shortly.
coming back in here shortly
we
to
will.
talk about it. So,
We'll get Ellie in here.
yes.
And,
One thing we didn't bring up, is my past working in security and being conscious of things around you and being
getting scared.
setting good examples. But what was Christy Nome thinking this weekend?
Oh my God.
She left her purse sitting around, I'm supposing, because it was stolen in a restaurant. I guess it was unattended at the moment. It would have to be.
Was her gun in it?
$3,000 worth of cash, her passport,
Oh,
her
that was
driver's
stupid.
license, and her Department of Homeland Security badge.
Wow.
Her ID, her access, her top security access. Now,
I'm sorry.
things can happen.
It happens to
She
people,
might have
women,
forgotten.
a lot.
It's
Because
just
you guys
dumb.
are stuck with that dang thing that you strap around your neck or your shoulder, or you just put down because
I
it's
detest
too
carrying
heavy. I can't carry this. It hurts my shoulder. Then unload it.
There's
Take
so
the
many
crap out of
different, like over the years, it's gone to where you got little backpacks now that you can carry as a purse. They make purses like backpacks. It takes the weight off your shoulder. You've got the little belly things that you can wear,
The fanny
and you've got
packs.
pockets. Yeah, fanny packs. But it's just like when I go in the grocery store, if I'm carrying one, I either put it down on the bottom of the cart and put stuff over top of it so it's not visible and it's right close to me, or I put it in the child seat and strap it in
Mhm.
with the little seat belts that they have there. And I don't leave it in full view in the truck either,
No, of
so
course not.
someone of her stature, to think how embarrassing that must be to have your purse lifted at a dinner, at a function, in a restaurant. I mean,
I've worked.
Where
I've
were
said it
you?
before, and I make the warning at Christmas time every year because all the people are out there in the store shopping, right? I go into stores to find the lady. Generally, it's going to be a woman because they're most often the only people
Mhm.
carrying a purse. There are exceptions. I don't even want to go there, but there are exceptions. There are man purses out there.
Yes, there are.
I've known
seen
some
them.
manly men that would carry them.
Right.
But I see a grocery cart near the end of an aisle,
And the woman has walked away
and
from
she
it.
has spot her purse is sitting up there. I don't
Right.
care if it's strapped in or not. I've got a knife that will cut through it in 1/2 second.
Well, I never walk
Seriously.
away from mine, even with
And
the
then they will
strap
walk around the corner to the other aisle to grab something and come back.
Mm-mm.
No, what are
Mm-mm.
you thinking? Y'all just don't believe there are bad people in the world. I have so wanted to set up that kind of a sting, and just with the
Right.
sanctity of the
Mhm.
store and the law enforcement, to walk up to these places and just pick up these purses and walk
I've
away
walked
with
by
them.
women that their purses were just sitting there
Yeah,
open.
opened up. You
with
can
the
reach in
wallet
and grab
right
a
on
phone.
top.
You can grab a this. You can
And
grab
I'm
a
like,
that. Come on.
holy moly.
Generally, you can't
but
grab a phone because they got that stuck into the
Christy
ears as they
Nome,
walk around.
girlfriend. I mean,
Did you get it
That's-
back?
Not that I know of. I know that they have Secret Service working on it.
Oh, I'm
and,
sure they do.
And they know it was a white male, but Steve called him. But
Poor dude.
that
Poor
is just like, whoa.
All right, Steve, you're going to tell me you got a manly man purse, right? You're going to give me grief.
Steve does.
I've got a backpack that I carry sometimes.
Oh, that's all right. I do too.
Yeah, I do.
I just usually got a ton of stuff and it hurts my back.
Yeah. I was going to say, I heard y'all talking about it twice in this last week. I've been at the Walmart and seen two different ladies leave their cart with their pocketbook in it wide open and walk down the aisle looking at stuff.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, it blows my mind, but then I'm like, well, we really live in a safe place that they can do that, and there's probably not going to be anything happen. But
until they can't, they can do it until they can't.
Right. But I've seen that twice in the last week. So yeah, it'll make you stop and think for a second. Like, are they crazy? The one woman, her pocketbook was open. You could see her phone and her wallet.
Yeah,
that's
what I'm talking about.
Wow.
She never even looked at me. She never even looked at me as I went by her cart. I was like, and she was a good 15, 20 feet away.
There was one time, and this was many years ago, because I could get away with it, sort of. I was the law then, and I was not in uniform, obviously. Right. But I walked up behind the lady's cart while she was standing. She walked away from it. Her purse is in it, and I take it, and I'm pushing it, and I'm following her with it. She turned around and looked at me. What? Then that's when I flashed a badge on her. So I didn't want her slapping me. And I said, I did not have to be a good guy. I could have been a bad guy, and your purse would have been gone. You would not have known it. I followed you for 3 minutes or 2 minutes, whatever it was. I followed her that long before she was okay. They pick up, Steve, verify. They pick up these bottom of the shelf cans of food, and they will put their glasses on and read the contents of it. Right? Have you seen them do that? Oh my God, they're so engrossed. You could. Oh my Lord, you could take a baby and be gone with it.
Yeah, that's kind of the lady with the one that was open. The purse was open. She was halfway down the aisle looking on the bottom shelf, like you say.
That's
completely engaged in that.
Cops would make the best crooks in the world. You know that, right? Because we see that happening all the time.
Well, I will say that twice in my life, I have taken a purse out of a cart that has been pushed out in the parking lot.
Oh, well, that's a different story.
And taken it back into the store.
Yeah, I've never taken a purse out. I've taken products out that they left underneath.
Right.
They're in a hurry, yada, yada, yada. But take them back to the store. They might come back and get them.
Yeah. I found a wallet last week laying out in the middle of the road there in Emerald. It was in a little zipper bag along with a cell phone. And I pulled it out and I opened the wallet to see the ID and didn't recognize the man, but the thing was slammed full of money. I don't know how much was in there.
Oh, no.
But he had left his cell phone in there, so it won't lock. I opened the cell phone and dialed the last number he called, and it happened to be his son. And was able to return it to him fairly quickly within about probably 10 or 15 minutes of picking it up.
You're a great guy.
And it was his birthday. So he was,
that's wonderful.
He was very excited about that. And then however much money was in there, when I gave it to him, he opened it up and looked and seen, and he looked at me and he pulled $60 out and said, I want to buy you dinner.
Nope.
And I told him, no, you don't have to do that. You don't owe me anything. And he insisted that I took it because of how much money I saved him, I guess, or whatever. But
that was very nice of him.
You gave him a heck of a birthday present, I can tell you that,
did.
because the damage, his day would have been ruined for the next several days while he called every credit card company,
it had all kinds of cards. It was an insanely packed wallet. Even his son made comment of it when I called.
And here's the worst thing today, given our current situation, his driver's license. I got to make an appointment to go get a duplicate. See you next year.
2030.
Yeah, but it was probably the fattest wallet I'd ever seen. It was well over 2 inches thick.
Oh, good
with what all the stuff he had in it.
Now we know why he didn't have it in his hip pocket.
Well, thank you.
Right, there's no way you could carry it in your pocket comfortably. Yeah.
Thank you for being who you are.
Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, I've lost mine before, man. I've been on that side of it, and One time I lost it, I got it back. One time I didn't. So, I've been in that position. So I was happy to help and, do it, whatever.
I had to break in the
on one other
house.
thing.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to comment on one other thing right quick. I
Sure.
heard the caller this morning talking to Lee about her experiences and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, he seemed overly amazed that she had that experience. And I kind of got the feeling that he grew up in a completely different culture than we did, because it's not unusual
No.
for us.
No.
We're Southern
Yeah.
girls. We're tough.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. To find a girl who has, is not a little bit of a tomboy around here is a little,
That's me.
out of the ordinary. Yeah, my daughter, she shot a 12 gauge by the time she was 10, as well as both my sons, which were younger than her. But yeah, she used to go hunting with me, and
Good.
like for us, we see girls hunting all the time, but I think it's just a difference of the culture that we grew up
Right.
in.
Well,
Right.
yeah, he is admittedly from the West Coast.
Right.
That's what he says. Has
Right.
spent quite a bit of time in Las Vegas. Well, between Las Vegas and Southern California, there's like what? Nothing that you can do. You just got to go from one culture to the other, and they're pretty much alike.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're
But,
right, Steve, about one thing. I do have a lot of tomboy in me. I do with that. I will admit it.
Well, and I think it's a poor way to categorize it. I've never really liked saying that, but that's kind of the norm, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not
That's
ungirly
Southern.
to be,
All right.
interested in stuff like that.
Oh, I
had-
agree.
I had a cousin, female, beautiful young woman. Tomboy, I don't know whether you classify as that or not, but she could shoot better than most men that I knew. She hunted with a bow. She shot a bear. She's killed alligator down in Florida. She cooks it, she cleans it, she cooks it, and she
Good.
eats it.
Hmm.
It's
Right,
there.
right.
That's where my
That's-
tomboy stops.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's weird to me because, like, my mom always carried a gun, my grandma
Oh.
always carried a gun, but my dad didn't carry a gun, and my uncles didn't carry guns.
They didn't need them. They had the women to protect them.
Yeah. But that's why it kind of struck me as odd. I was like, that's exactly what all the women in my life did. It was the guys that didn't really, carry the guns all the time. But, yeah, like I say, I think it's a little bit different culture.
It
and
is.
around here, we grew up, gun safety is kind of just embedded in our brains at an early age.
Yeah.
You're taught
Yeah.
from the time you're born,
Right.
Mhm.
right shortly after that, like my daughter was,
Hmm.
gun, no touch, don't touch, don't touch, don't touch. No
Yeah.
gun. It's really difficult for somebody who's got to reach and grab a gun to go to work in a hurry sometimes, because I had to go out to process scenes and
Right.
got caught.
Right.
It's hard to go look for a key to unlock the safety
Yeah.
for that gun to do whatever. Of course, they got all sorts of cool things today. The best safety we ever had back in the day, pair of handcuffs.
Yes.
No, not to go on people, but to go
To
behind
go
the
on the
trigger,
guns,
behind the
yes.
trigger guard, and the other
I
cuff
still do that.
goes to a bed rail or whatever can't be moved. You got
Yeah.
the key.
pretty
Bad
good.
guys don't.
I still do that. I have
Yeah.
one that has my cuffs through it,
Yeah.
so it can't be
You
fired.
put it behind the trigger guard. You
That's
can't
right.
pull the trigger.
Mhm.
Done.
And with all my kids, I'm excessive about it. Even if they've got, like my grandson, he's got one of them little Nerf guns,
Yeah,
that
don't
shoots
point it at
little
people.
darts or whatever.
Don't put it at people.
And I'm constantly on that. I'm even like, you don't sweep my head with the end of that barrel.
Nope.
You do not,
Oh.
if you're
Nope.
turning it around, it's always at the ground. I don't care if it's a toy.
That's where
and-
people get me. I'm just
Yeah.
like, you've got a class, you're trying to train them, and they're all out there outside at the range, or they could be inside, but yet they pick it up and they're waving it, and you're like, everybody's hitting the ground. And
Yeah.
that's why people need those classes.
Yes.
When you're on a range, a live fire
Oh,
range,
man.
and you got a bunch of people out there, and a rookie group that's come out,
Right.
and they start doing that, and the people are out there with experience, they will hit the deck.
They're wondering why we're all wearing Kevlar. I mean, because I'm telling you, and I've been invited for different functions with, like a women's group. Oh, let's all go to the range and shoot. I'm like, no, I'm not available that day. Thank you.
No.
I mean, because you have a lot of people that have never shot before,
That's right.
and they don't understand, and that's the big problem that I have with the bill that the state's trying to push through about open carry, that anybody can open carry without a
Yeah.
permit. My problem
They
with
can carry
that,
concealed without a permit.
right, yes,
Okay, yeah.
but it's an open carry state, and
Yep.
they can conceal carry without a permit. And I think it's going to bring a lot of people out that know nothing about guns, but they're going to do it because it's cool. And it just prove me
tell
wrong.
you-
Prove me wrong.
Yeah, I was going to say the people who make me nervous are the ones who are more or less self-taught, who haven't had any kind of professional instruction.
That's what I'm
They
scared
go
of.
they go to the range, they learn to shoot straight, and they think that's all there is to it, and they don't know about what's behind your target. Is your target going to shoot back? What's behind you? What is the effective lethal range of the ammunition that you're using?
Here.
There's a lot of things that go into it. Y'all know it as well as I do, but there's those ones that just think as long as you can shoot straight that you're good to go. Yeah.
I love the ones that have a target set up and they say, "Oh God, I got 8 out of 10 rounds right there. Where are the other 2? Huh?
Right.
You're missing
Yep.
2. You're missing 2 holes in this entire target of this human person up there. The silhouette. There are 2 that didn't hit him at all anywhere. Where did they go? Huh?
And that's not under pressure.
No,
That's
it's
a
not
relaxed
under pressure.
environment.
That's right. Yeah,
Now,
I
that was the
love
one thing I liked about, I was going to say, the Sportsman's Lodge leave was that when they had the law enforcement there training, is that they had the
Yes.
lights flashing
Yes.
and they put all the distractions out there to help them,
Sirens, bullhorns,
Yes,
people
right.
screaming
You
at
had
you, and
Any
instruct
kind of medical condition that would cause seizures,
you
there
need
are
to
some
stay away.
you need to stay away because
Yeah.
it would just light the place up.
And we had one instructor that you had your gun. Here was the cool course. They would take your weapon down, right? Your pistol, and they would jack it up somehow or another so it would not function when you got there. Magazine may be laying off the side. It may be full magazine, may be partially in the butt of the gun. It may be sticking out. You don't even recognize it as sticking out. And you go and you check it, and there's no round in the chamber, but you can't get one to go into the chamber, so you got to slam the magazine in and start from scratch. They may have a stovepipe that they put in there. It's a jam. So they do all sorts of things. And then they say, run, 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 run. And they run down right beside you just as hard as they can, screaming, calling your mother nasty names. And they scream and holler to get under your
I can
skin.
scream.
And
Yeah.
so you get down there, and then they want you to get your gun ready and start shooting.
What gets me
That is a stress test.
No, I understand that. And the biggest thing, and you've talked about this so many times, is people when you say, okay, unload your weapons. So they chamber, and the one round pops out, then they drop their magazine and not realizing that as soon as you've got to drop the
That magazine is
first.
one bullet short because it's in the chamber.
Because it's in the chamber. You have to drop the magazine. And a lot of people don't understand that. When I went to get my concealed carry permit, I was in a class that there was a lot of people, I would say 75% of the people were new to guns. And they brought their new weapons and, they were proud of them. And I was proud for them. And when we went to go out to the range, they said, who wants to go first? I said, me. Let me go first because I could shoot, be done, and go.
Yep.
Yeah, because I had a lot of people standing around me that were just looking at their weapons and it was just, I felt scared. So let me shoot, I'm gone. But yeah, I mean, I think kudos to those people though that take the class. Kudos to them.
Please take it and take it again.
Yes.
And then go shoot your dang bullets. If you got bullets that have been in that gun for a year and you haven't fired them, they might not go
Yes.
off. Your gun may be dirty. It might be jammed. You might get one round off and then it locks back. What you going to do then, Bubba?
Exactly.
You need to go to the range and shoot everything you've got in your gun that you carry, both magazines
That
if you
might
carry a
take
second
me a
one.
while.
Just whatever you've got loaded that you
Right.
depend on, especially if you're carrying it every day, go blast some holes in some paper.
Yes. I mean,
Makes you feel good too.
I'm such an advocate of the Second Amendment, but I do believe that people need to learn responsibility if they're going to carry a weapon. How many times have you gone into like Walmart and you've got some young guy walking around with a great big old firearm on his side. And I'm thinking, why?
Now, what's he going to do with it?
You know, what are you going to do with it? You know,
Well,
somebody comes in and starts shooting up the place. You're the first one down.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, I just feel like some people just feel like they're
I
more
call them bird
important.
dogs.
Yeah.
Because they point out
I
the bad guys right up front. Then I know who to shoot.
Be responsible.
Yeah.
Be responsible.
There was a time when I had a firearm on my side, and I always felt more vulnerable with that firearm on my side
Exactly.
than I did without it.
I always
And
felt that way in uniform, believe it or not. I hated the uniform because you got a badge that's a target. My God, it's right over your heart. Well, what are they going to aim at? You got a gun on your
I
side
hope
because,
it's not my
oh
heart.
my Lord, they're going to shoot me. Oh Lord, they're coming in here to rob the place, and I'm standing here with a gun. What are they going to do? Oh Lord, I'm dead because I don't have the advance notice. I hope
When
it is.
I had to, yeah, I was gonna say when I wore one, it was because I carried large amounts of cash and stuff, and it always made me more nervous to have it. It was there to keep stupid people from doing stupid stuff, but a real criminal would just sneak up behind me and hit me over the head.
Yeah, or shoot you in the back.
You know, right? And you know, before I even know what's happening.
And then they got an extra
I've known
gun.
people that's happened to. I've known people that had the gun right on their side and got, you know, put in the hospital, got beat down, and never even got a chance to put their hand on it.
My dad, before he passed away, I think at the age of 87, but about a year before he passed away, my dad was always carrying concealed.
Mm-hmm.
He had a leather vest, and buddy, I can tell you, he had one packed in there, you know, at his age too. And it'd be late at night, 10, 11 o'clock, we'd be leaving a function. He goes, well, I'm going to stop by the ATM and get some cash. I'm like, no, you're not. And he said, well, it's fate. I have my gun. I said, Dad, you know, you're 86 years of age. Before you could even think about taking that gun out of your pocket, the person's going to subdue you, steal your cash, probably knock you out, you know,
And take your gun.
and take your gun. But my dad, boy, trying to tell him sometimes,
You know, some people may not agree with this comparison, but I'm going to do it anyway. So the gun is a weapon, right? A car, a vehicle is a weapon.
Yep.
In all
can be
practice.
used as one.
So you're going to take a class to use that vehicle.
A weapon of mass destruction.
Yep.
The
Yeah.
deadliest weapon
Then
of
you-
mass destruction in the country.
If you're not bright enough to take a class to use a weapon, there's something wrong with you.
Well, I just
Whether you
think
have
it's
to,
very,
whether
very
the law requires it or not, you should do it just for your own peace of mind, so you will feel better about yourself
Exactly.
and feel comfortable.
It's a huge
then go
responsibility
shoot.
owning a weapon.
I was gonna say situational awareness is a you know a big plus in that type of thing.
Yep.
Even when I was dealing with the large amounts of cash, we changed our protocol to where we had two of us would go in two cars, and
Yeah.
one person would collect the cash, and I would shadow them.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know, because they were doing business, they were talking to people, they were collecting. They weren't able to watch what was going on around them.
See.
If somebody was in the parking lot, you know, stuff like that.
We did a lot of that with our security business too. We had businesses like Hardee's when they closed up for the night, and after the manager counted his money and was ready to make the deposit, we shadowed them to the bank to make the night deposit. We did that with all of them in town. So,
My last place was Curie Beach, which is a very small town. So they collected a lot of money, you know, everything from parking fees to money, cash that came in. Bank
Right.
deposits had to be made. Well, guess who made the bank deposits? The police department.
Mhm.
The whoever's on duty
I see,
during the
yeah.
day shift, they come in, they say, hey, nobody's going to rob you. We had to drive because there's no bank at Curie Beach. Had to drive up to Carolina Beach. So, okay, so who's going to bother you? Nobody.
Right. Yeah.
So that was the point. So
Nobody's sane anyway.
it worked out very well for them.
Right.
So, okay.
There's so
Steve,
much.
thank you, sir. Where are you
Thanks,
playing
Steve.
this
You're
weekend? Anywhere?
I don't play this weekend. I got the weekend off, but tonight I'm at Riptides, and Thursday I'm at 34 North.
Okay, well, so during the week then you're playing. Take the weekend off.
Yep.
Good.
Yep.
Yep, got the weekend off.
Good.
Have fun.
Great to
All
hear
right,
from
we'll
you.
do.
Thanks for calling, Steve.
Have a good
See you. Bye.
Take care.
Okay, as usual, we're running really late. It's okay.
And my trial's just starting. I gotta go.
The judge will tell you it's okay.
No, that's right. I'm listening to. Oh, she's not started yet. I listened through
Good
Emily
God.
D. Baker, and she usually starts at late. That gives us plenty of Zoom.
You know what?
time.
You need to get some help with that addiction. You really do.
I almost bothered you yesterday between 9 and 5 and go.
No,
"What
it was
time
fine.
are-"
It starts today.
You said yesterday, don't bother me between 9 and 5. I got a trial.
Yes,
So I was
Monday
gonna
through
call you.
Friday, but this week is just start opening statements today.
Okay.
But I listened to, oh, wait.
Oh,
She
Lord,
already
here we
had-
go.
No, it says waiting. Yeah. I listened to this one attorney that will, as we're watching the court,
Mhm.
if there's a question or if she wants to explain, she'll stop the tape. She'll stop the feed and she'll explain to us, which makes it
Yeah.
very easy because you get to learn more that way. And then, so whenever they have a sidebar or they have a break or something, she can zoom and catch up. And so we're always on time. So she hasn't started yet. So this is good.
Is a sidebar anything like a side salad?
Sidebar. We call it a sidebar in this
Sidebar.
case
When
because
was the
it's in
first time you
Boston.
heard the phrase, that description of sidebar?
You're right, a salad.
No, sidebar.
Yeah.
So- a
Sidebar.
sidebar, yeah.
Like
Television.
Legally speaking, where did you hear it first?
Television.
Do you know a specific incident?
No, I don't know.
I
You
just,
will once I tell you.
I just
It was
know
the
it is.
OJ trial.
Oh,
I never heard it until I heard paying attention to that trial. They were always having sidebars.
Well, see,
And I'm like,
this,
what the Sam Hill is a
what's
sidebar?
weird
And then I figured
is-
it out.
this,
Of all the courts I've ever
judge-
been in, I never heard anybody refer to it. Come on up here, we got to have a sidebar. Never.
Well, this is weird. In Massachusetts, it's up to the judge, but this judge right here, if like one attorney speaking and the other one objects, she'll just say sustain or overruled, and nobody knows why is being objected for. Nothing is explained, and if an attorney does want an explanation or wants to a sidebar, they go to the judge, and you can't hear it. They
No, of
cut the
course.
volume
Right.
off of it and everything. But this is Massachusetts.
You need to learn to read lips.
Weird.
You need to read lips. Learn to read lips and you'll
And
be okay.
this trial has made national headlines.
Bless her heart.
And I'm telling you right now, she's innocent.
There's no such thing. She may be not guilty. But
She
she's not
is-
innocent.
Innocent.
First,
She's innocent.
Chris, we outnumber her today.
Don't take my words and try to twist them. She is innocent.
She, no matter which she it is never innocent. You're live and local, real talk. We're always
innocent.
awake, never woke. We'll see you tomorrow morning at
Freaking
7. Have a great rest of your day. Oh, my.